What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. You may be seated. Officials for this evening's game. The referee is Chris Daste. Head linesman Michael Torrey Smith. Line judge is Tom Husted. The umpire is George Estrella. And the back judge, Mike Dobies. Athletic trainers here this evening, Wes Smith, Wade Anderson, and Elizabeth Brown. The medical team is headed up by Dr. Ferkel and staff from the Southern California Orthopedic Institute. Game support staff includes chain gang members Seth Silifau, John Miller, Bill Miller, and Dave Culver. Clock and scoreboard operator is Steve Hegberg. Announcers team members include spotters John Grover, Mike Ramos, Scott Crawford, and Tyler Peterson. Statistician is Terry Fay, and your announcer, Steve Hawley.
Two of the winningest programs in Ventura County and throughout Southern California over the last 2 decades take the field tonight. That statement alone should be enough to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. But think about the collegiate stars and NFL talents that have come through these two schools. And by the way, they're also both private schools, as they do battle year in and year out for bragging rights between private schools in Ventura County. And now, with a Marmonte League championship on the line as play opens. Welcome, everyone, to Oaks Christian School in Westlake Village, California. This is the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star. My name is Danny Page. With me, the Deuce, Derry Eads. And joining us in the booth tonight, a former Seraph, Lorenzo Booker. Lorenzo, this is quite an occasion, isn't it, whenever these two collide?
It is. It definitely is. And you know, like you said, if you thought you could add any more hatred, you know, to the rivalry, now it's for a Marmonte League title. But, you know, Oaks has played really well. You know, they're 7-0. St. Bonaventure is 5-2. I feel like, though, Oaks has a lot to prove as well as St. Bonaventure. I think Oaks' 7-0 record, you know, as you said earlier, they like to start fast. And I think if St. Bonnie can play with them and turn it into a shootout for a while. I'm kind of intrigued to see exactly how Oaks Christian responds to that. They've got a young quarterback, and it seems to me that he hasn't been through a lot, and I'd like to see him get tested a little bit here tonight.
Well, Derry, the last time we saw St. Bonaventure, they were involved in one of the most shocking score lines I think we've seen in recent years in Ventura County, as they lost to Camarillo 49-20. What did you take away from that game, and what do you think St. Bonaventure will improve upon over these past 2 weeks, and so that they put together a more comprehensive performance tonight?
Well, what I kind of take away from that game was more how far Camarillo has come. That program is real. They've beaten some really good people, and the verification of that was their win last week over a very good Calabasas team. Camarillo's really come along. I think St. Bonaventure really depends so much on those three-headed rushing game of Wick and Santoyo and Darius Vines. It'd be really good if they could find a breakaway receiver, which they really haven't found through the first 7 games of the season.
Yeah, that's an issue for the Seraphs, isn't it? They obviously have 2 solid backs between Wick and Santoyo, but really there hasn't been that marquee target for Darius Vines.
And I'll agree with you on that. And I think that's been one of their big problems is they do have a lot of solid players. But you're going to have to be more than solid when you want to beat teams like Oaks Christian and again, like last week against, or a couple of weeks ago when they played Camarillo. Somebody is going to have to step up if St. Bonaventure wants to get out of this season on the back end what they set out to at the beginning of the year. They're going to have someone else make plays on the offensive side of the ball other than Darius Vines. He cannot do it all by himself. And I personally think it starts up front. Against Camarillo, they had -1 yard rushing. I know Chuck Wick, or Santoyo rather, only had 4 carries, but that was because they were trying to play catch-up so fast. You got to be able to protect this guy so he can make plays, be accurate. He can't be running around the field looking for guys to get open. And 20 seconds is more than enough for even a solid receiver to get open downfield. So they're going to need help from everybody. Everybody's going to have to do their job if they want to get a win tonight.
Kind of an interesting scene here is the Seraph team has yet to officially run onto the field, as it looks like they just finished a St. Bonaventure rendition of the haka as they run onto the field through the cheerleaders. Away to the left, the Oaks Christian team is awaiting the kickoff. St. Bonaventure, interestingly enough, decided to defer, and that's one thing we talked about in the VCSPreps Periscope pregame, Lorenzo, down on the field, was that it might be the St. Bonaventure defensive unit that really determines what direction this game is headed in.
I think you're right about that because, let's face it, they haven't stopped anybody all year. And stopping people clearly is important. I know they've had a high-powered offense for the majority of the time, but you just can't rely on getting into these slugfests back and forth over and over with teams, with the better teams, especially on the back end of their schedule. The defense is going to have to try to find a way to come up with stops. We're not saying that they need to be something that they're not. We know that against most teams, they're probably going to be overmatched. But just bend but don't break. Just don't give them 50, 60, 70-yard touchdowns. Make them earn whatever they're trying to get. And, hey, you never know. Through that, what that does is get your offense rest. And then maybe they throw you a turnover or 2 and then the offense capitalizes on it.
Jacob Bravo set to kick away. St. Bonaventure in white knocks it to Gil Scott Jackson. He will have a return, swiveling his way up beyond the 10-yard line. He's taken down at the 15. If you want to talk about playmakers for Oaks Christian, there were 2 back deep to receive there in Michael Pittman and Gil Scott Jackson.
Yeah, Scott Jackson has rushed for 951 yards this season. He's got 3 straight seasons of 900 yards rushing or more.
He could get over 1,000 tonight. Here's a screen play to Pittman, an easy completion for the sophomore quarterback, Matt Corral. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, is building a quarterback's confidence early.
That's exactly what it is, especially in a game like this. Again, a big rivalry, one of the bigger ones Oaks Christian will play. And, get him started with some short passes just like that bubble screen you saw to get his confidence right. And, it leads to more completions and moving the sticks.
A little bit of sloppy tackling from the Seraphs as they finally bring down Micah Pittman, the freshman wide receiver, works his way up near midfield. And just like that, 27 seconds in, Oaks Christian is on one side of midfield.
It's funny, you just saw a young guy, a sophomore to a freshman. So it seems that they're not just trying to get the sophomore quarterback some confidence. They're trying to get their freshman playmakers, the younger guys across the board, some confidence as well. And that's important. They know that in order for them to be good, they're going to have to get their playmakers the ball. And over the course of the season, what you want to see is everybody grow. The older guys you don't have to so much worry about because they've been there before. But the young guys, it's nice to see Binker getting them involved early so that you can rely on them later on in the game if need be.
Well, if St. Barnes defense could get them to go like a 10-play drive, the more chances of turnover then.
And here's a double pass, complete downfield to number 84 for Oaks Christian, Colby Parkinson. Parkinson has it down inside the 15-yard line, really well executed.
You cannot have those kind of breakdowns in coverages for St. Bonaventure. They have to know that if the ball is thrown that far behind the line of scrimmage, something is coming. There's going to be a double pass. So, again, it's kind of like what we talked about earlier, is them having a bend but don't break mentality, and that play was not indicative of that.
It really was thrown 5 or 6 yards backward. And now here is a give to Jackson. And that's what the Seraphs are looking for. Big play at the point of impact, leading the way Daniel Luna, the senior defensive lineman.
I think a big win for St. Bonaventure right now is if they can get their defense off the field having only given up 3 points. If they can find a way to stop them from getting in the end zone, it'll be a confidence builder and, again, add to that bend but don't break mentality. I don't think St. Bonaventure defensively is in any position to be able to let somebody just walk right down the field and get 6 points on the first drive.
Corral spins out, sprints out, completes a pass down to the 1-yard line. Brandon Call, really well orchestrated play.
Without a doubt. I mean, clearly they're trying to get their running game established. And even the short passes are somewhat running plays. They're getting the ball out of their quarterback's hands early, giving them high efficiency plays. And that's building his confidence, obviously.
Offsides on Oaks Christian.
Yep, looks like it'll be a procedure penalty against the Lions. A lot of teams will go to that, run a quick snap, catch the defense off guard. But at the high school level, it's difficult because sometimes you catch your own offense off guard.
and that's true. But I honestly can't blame, Coach Binker. Again, like we talked about before, they're used to starting fast. They try to jump on you quick, and they try to break your back early. And I like it. I like it because it shows aggressiveness on the offensive side of the ball. I think we want to credit Oregon for that, huh?
Absolutely. And now here's Corral trying to run in like Marcus Mariota, and he stretches wide to the left, takes it in for 6 from 6 yards out. And Oaks Christian, less than 2 minutes in, leads 6-0. They drive right down the field.
It's what you do best. A lot of plays back to back to back. I mean, I don't even think we saw them huddle up this entire drive. But when you're that efficient, why would you? I mean, again, I think that, that long play of 45 yards on that double pass, St. Bonnie has to see that coming. You have to know exactly what you're looking at. I mean, that's something that you watch on tape all the time. I mean, again, if the guy is 5 yards behind the ball and they're throwing the ball out there, something else is coming. If they wanted him to get upfield fast, the ball wouldn't have been thrown back that far, and that's just coaching 101. And St. Bonnie's going to have to get it together and quick because this can't turn into a track meet with this team. I don't think they'll come in on the winning end with that.
I wondered when we saw, for me it's just a strange sight, I'm sure it is for both of you as well, to see Jim Benkert anywhere but a Westlake sideline. And to me, the way that drive was put together is it felt like one of those quick strike Westlake drives, but in Oaks Christian uniforms with Oaks Christian athletes.
This is true. I mean, look, Jim is one of the greatest in state history. I mean, he's obviously one of the greatest in county history, but he's won all of his years. So, and now he comes over here to a program that's already established, and, he's got Coach Riddell with him. So you got 2 legends roaming one sideline. It's just, it's a really good situation for him. I can't believe Westlake let him out of there, but, again, he's in a good position. He seems to be happy, and how can you not? You're 7-0, and you got a great start to this one.
Marquise Allen takes it at the 15, and he'll get out to the 21-yard line. The St. Bonaventure Seraphs, led by Adam Guerra, a Loyola graduate, come in at 5-2. They are led by Darius Vines, who has nearly 1,500 yards passing on the season, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He is simply a superb athlete.
And that is without a doubt. And I got to say, the thing that impresses me most about Darius, as fast and as great as he is with his feet, is he's always looking to pass first. Kind of Russell Wilson-ish, if we're going to say.
And un-Kaepernick-ish after what we saw last night. A nice little cut to the left-hand side and a gain of 10 yards on the play for Chris Santoyo.
And that's what you want to see out of St. Bonaventure. You have to be able to run the ball because running the ball is going to get you in a balanced situation. You can't have teams only looking at Darius and not being able to dial up that run game. So I'm glad they started out with that, letting Oaks Christian know right out the back that this is going to be, they're going to at least try to have a more balanced attack.
There's nothing to make us think that St. Bonaventure won't be able to move the ball one way or another throughout the game, as Vines has 3 wide receivers to the left. He does throw. Open downfield, and that's caught by number 9. Deshaun Staples. Staples inside the 35-yard line. He just got beyond the coverage and worked his way into Oaks Christian territory.
I love it. And again, Darius, deadly accurate right there. Beautiful pass protection by the offensive line, which I think, again, that first play when you ran the ball let Oaks Christian know right out the get that if you want to sit back and wait on Darius to start running around, you're going to be in trouble. So, again, another one of those young and up-and-coming wide receivers. Deshaun made a great play. First down, St. Bonaventure.
And again, he had time to throw.
That's the key, isn't it, Derry? 3 to the far side, a tight end to the left to block for Santoyo. He doesn't seal the edge, though, and Chris ends up picking up maybe a yard, 2nd and 9 on the way.
Like you said, that offensive line is the key. They have to be able to keep those red shirts off of Darius and to be able to create movement so that those running backs can pick their way through there and pick up positive yardage and again sustain drives. So again, like that offensive line is the key. If they can hold up, I think it'll do a lot of good for St. Bonaventure on the back end.
How much did they miss Nick Capella from last year?
Oh, tremendously. Tremendously. He was the quarterback of that offensive line. And
great strike delivered by Vines. And another first down for the Seraphs inside the 25-yard line. That's Moy Pedroza with the catch. And another first down. So we're looking 4 plays. St. Bonaventure's worked their way within the 25-yard line of Oaks Christian. There's a penalty flag, I believe, after the play. And that's a personal foul against Oaks Christian. And there we saw Jim Benkert with his usual scowl.
Not happy
for the officials. We've missed that, Coach. We have yet to see you this year.
And usually that's something that happens in a game that's heated like this. You get a guy that gets tackled on your sideline, and guys who aren't in want to tell him how they feel about him. Unfortunately, they got caught, and 15 more yards for St. Bonaventure. But this is the kind of help that St. Bonnie wants, being on the road and struggling the last offensive outing.
Fumbled by Vines, and it looked like he had fallen on it, but I think Oaks Christian came up with it. Wow, the Seraphs moved the ball all the way inside the Oaks 15-yard line. Vines can't handle the snap. He can't fall on it either, and the Lions take over. That hurts.
Very uncharacteristic of Darius. He's usually really sure-handed with the ball. Even I'd say half of those interceptions he's even thrown were forced balls because, he just was trying to make a play when nothing else was going. Again, very uncharacteristic of Darius, and you got to wonder, how is that going to affect him on the backstretch?
You almost kind of seemed like he was looking up before he got the ball.
Nice throw by Corral. Good for 10 yards and a first down for Oaks Christian. There's a sophomore making a senior throw.
I hate to go back and beat a dead horse, but when you're searching for confidence like St. Bonaventure is, you just cannot have that happen this early. I know sometimes turnovers happen, but they had a lot of momentum going right now offensively, and it just, for nothing almost. And especially if Oaks drives down and gets some more points out of it.
Here is a keeper from Corral. And Corral is sent to the turf after about a 2-yard gain. I couldn't agree more. Again, especially at the high school level, the opening drives, periods of the first quarter, it's not just about the yardage and the points. It's about the statement you make.
Well, you've got a team like Oaks Christian has a lot of confidence right now. They've outscored teams 253 to 29 in the first halves. And like Lorenzo said, St. Bonaventure's trying to come off of a really tough loss their last time. They're trying to get some more confidence in this team.
And they nearly had it. But on first down, as this pass on second down is incomplete, 3rd and 8 coming up.
Can't be down 14-0 against Oaks Christian.
Especially after that last series there. It's they've got Oaks Christian into a 3rd and long situation. So let's see how the defense responds here. I think this will be a source of confidence if they can get Oaks off the field right now and get their offense the ball back. It'll restore a little bit of faith in that defense and everybody else to know that, hey, we can get some stops tonight, and the offense will have opportunities to make up for their mistakes.
St. Bonaventure brings a blitz from the middle. The snap is over the top of Corral. Corral now throws downfield to a wide-open receiver. Caught by Michael Pittman. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Oaks Christian.
What a presence of mind to throw that ball.
Not only did Corral go all the way back inside his 5-yard line, scoop it up, and then deliver a strike to Pittman.
Man, I tell you what, he really bailed out his center right there, didn't he? Reminds me of the championship game I played in against Nordhoff my sophomore year that ended up winning us the game. But, again, right there, you really saw the maturity of that young quarterback right there. Again, to have the presence of mind it would have been enough for me if he just fell on the ball. But he picked the ball up, looked downfield, and saw a wide-open Pittman. And, I mean, you just had a disaster turn into one of the greatest things right now for Oaks Christian. 14-0 fast.
They may have practiced that kind of stuff. Don't you think
it almost looked scripted. It did almost look scripted.
He knew who to look for.
It seems like it. And I think, we talked about staying at home on the trick play on the opening drive. There's not really much you can do there to tell your safety, I'll stay on the wide receiver when the ball snapped 15 yards backward.
Not at all. Exactly.
That's just one of those plays.
Yeah, that situation, it doesn't go on St. Bonaventure's defense. That's just a broken play, a fluke play, and the ball bounced Oaks' way right there. Nothing to coach on that one. Just say, hey, guys, keep playing, and offense go down there and get 6, so that way the defense can come out and get a stop. I mean, they had the stop. Defense did their job on that play, and it just, again, it was a fluke situation.
Now St. Bonaventure will get the football back. Let's see if they can march downfield as they did on their opening drive. Really 2 fluke situations that are preventing this game from likely being 7-7.
Turnovers, and that's usually the key in most games. The team that turns the ball over the less wins, and right now St. Bonaventure has 1, Oaks has none. Almost doesn't count.
That will be a touchback. Lorenzo, what do you think about the high school rule? You've obviously played the game at every level there is. What do you think about the high school rule that you cannot bring kickoffs out when they're in the end zone?
I mean, I understand, you're trying to protect the players. So I actually don't mind it in high school. Football is a dangerous game, although I do think that there are some rules that, don't need to be fixed. I don't like the crackback rule. I think you got guys thinking now too much, and you can't be out there thinking. Otherwise, you end up hurting yourself. So I understand we're trying to make football safe, but it's still football, and there's only so much we can do. But in terms of the kickoff, I don't mind it.
Here is a carry up to the 24-yard line by Santoyo. He's certainly feeling it a little bit more tonight than in that Camarillo defeat.
That's for sure. It was tough sledding for everybody that night.
You ever had a night like that at the running back position, just where nothing would work?
Oh, man, too many. Too many. Those hits hurt a little more, though, when you're playing at the college level and the pros.
It's just part of being a running back, isn't it?
Without a doubt.
Just having to bury your head and – you have to have a short memory.
Everybody's fast at that level, aren't they?
Oh, my goodness. D. Lyman running as fast as you know. That's a sight.
This time a high snap. Vines gets it away, sees one-on-one coverage on the outside, and the intended target just can't catch up to it.
I like that. They saw Oaks in man coverage, which, if I'm Oaks, I don't mind that. You're going to have to prove to me that you can beat me down the field before I give you that kind of respect. But if St. Bonaventure wants them to back up, that's what they're going to have to do. When they're in man coverage, take shots. That's the only way that they're going to have a guy emerge like Derry talked about earlier. Everybody around there is solid. We don't need solid players. They're going to have to – somebody is going to have to step up and be the guy. It can't just be Darius running around making plays by himself.
And it's not 3rd down and 10 or 3rd down and 9. It's 3rd and 6.
Yes.
A more manageable situation after Vines tried to take a shot there, seeing the man coverage. And now Vines will sprint out to his right. Backside pressure coming. Vines will be trailed down from behind. The ball came loose, but they'll say that he was already down, and St. Bonaventure is going to have to punt away.
Man coverage again. Had he been able to get out there sooner, he had the man coming across the field in the flat, but a great pursuit by the D-line and pretty good coverage even from Oaks Christian. Force another punt. This is the second drive where St. Bonnie hasn't gotten anything, and Oaks is used to this. They're used to Oaks is just getting more and more confidence and danger back there. Number 1, Michael Pittman.
And the snap, not a 10 out of 10, let's say. This will bounce at the 45. Pittman will take it at his own 42. Gets beyond one tackler, and then is finally hauled down as he carries the Seraph tackler 10 yards, gets to the 38-yard line. Michael Pittman, the USC-bound senior, at least at the moment still USC-bound.
Does have his prerogative to change his mind, although USC is a pretty good school.
It's my alma mater. So unofficially, I'm hoping he sticks with his commitment.
And look at Oaks. They can't wait for the ref to blow that whistle so they can get going again.
You're right.
They are trying to put their foot on St. Bonnie's throat now.
Just barely halfway through the opening quarter.
Trips to the top of the screen. I'm seeing a little bubble action.
Now they look back to Pittman near side. Pittman lays out for it.
Good
he
defense.
wanted the penalty flag, but I think that's just
good defense.
Definitely. Good coverage.
Lorenzo, I think you were involved looking at that play. You've been involved in the game during a very interesting stretch in terms of how corners are allowed to guard wide receivers. I mean, really, the game started to change over the period that you were in college and the pros. Your thoughts on the way the game has changed in terms of benefiting the passing game?
I definitely think corners and defensive players in general are at a disadvantage. I think for 2 reasons. One, they're trying to make the game safer, but I also think that they want offenses to score more. It's true. Offense sells tickets and defense wins games. I mean, that's just what it is. But this is an offensive player telling you I do think it's not fair for defensive players. I mean, corner is already one of the hardest positions to play when you're having a lineup and not know what your opponent is doing. And now they just made it even harder. Now they have one arm tied behind their back.
Scott Jackson upended. I think it was a block in the back.
Might be a block in the back.
Yeah, it appeared that Hunter Alonzo got through an illegal block and upended Gil Scott Jackson. I thought Jackson was easily going to have a first down.
Yeah, a lot of green in front of him. That was a great tackle by that corner. Open field with a guy on him.
This is a tough one. I don't know whether to take this or not, I would say.
Well, I think
4th and 3.
Oaks Christian's going to go for it on 4th down irregardless.
Yeah, I think you got to take it.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Then you put Oaks in this. You put yourself in a situation defensively where all you got to do is get a stop. Even if they gain 5, 6, 7 yards, it's still going to be what it was just now: 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and that puts Oaks, or 4th and 7, 4th and 8, excuse me, and that puts Oaks in a. It shortens that play call sheet for them if they are in fact going to go for it on 4th down.
3rd down and 13. Corral, straight drop, flush, up to the line of scrimmage, and he's going to run for it. Corral shakes his way down inside the 20 for an Oaks Christian first down.
Nice job by the young quarterback, recognizing the soft coverage by St. Bonaventure, taking it upon himself to get up there and move the chains. His confidence, you could just see it growing with each snap, and it's so important for a young quarterback to feel that way. I mean, after you throw a 90-yard touchdown, I mean, how can you lack in that area?
Here's Corral stepping up, now throwing to Pittman. It's a great throw, and really a pass that could only be caught by the 6'4" wide receiver.
Strong hands by that guy. One of the tougher catches to make for a receiver, coming back to the ball while the ball is thrown with authority like that. But, hey, he's going to SC, right? That's what you expect from that kind of guy.
Really, we've seen a couple plays made from Oaks Christian offensively that are collegiate-level plays, and I think that's one example.
St. Bonaventure has to try and get pressure with their front 4. I mean, look, there's no movement by that
They read that
defensive
one very
line.
well.
Little swing route to Jackson. Keegan Romero and Aiden Kistler on the tackle. That's a loss of 5, 3rd and 6.
That's a nice job of the linebackers in the secondary coming up, taking nice angles. But again, the quarterback has too much time, and so it doesn't matter what coverage you call if the front four doesn't at some point force the ball out of that quarterback's hand. The line of scrimmage is not moving, and it's not going to help them at any point if it doesn't change.
Jackson motions to the right. They'll fake the screen, and now Corral cannot get away. Another loss after it was 2nd and 1 on that little out route to Pittman. Back-to-back backwards plays, and Oaks Christian will bring out the kicking team. Jimmy Dorn to attempt a field goal.
I think that's a positive for St. Bonaventure's defense there. Their offense has the ability to score really fast, so them being down 17-0 isn't like a lot of other teams being down 17-0. They can literally score in one play. So holding Oaks to 3, and if St. Bonaventure's offense can come down and get 6 on this next drive, I think we have a whole nother game. And it's going to be important for St. Bonaventure to score on this next drive. If they don't, things can only get worse.
That kick is up and through. It is 17-0 Oaks Christian.
Especially with Oaks Christian had the ball in short field on the St. Bonaventure 37, so they didn't really have far to go. So that was really good defensive stand by St. Bonaventure.
Agreed. They're going to have to build on that. But, like I said, I hate to keep saying it, but it's the truth. That defensive line is going to have to get pressure. They don't have to necessarily get them right off the ball, but, the line of scrimmage isn't moving at all. And that is going to enable Oaks to do whatever they want to do, whether it be running, trick plays, passing the ball. They can call any play in their arsenal. If you're going to sit back in zone coverage all night, you need that front four to get pressure. And they have not been able to do that yet. Again, their secondary and their linebackers have taken good angles for the most part, and they're wrapping up with their tackles. But with players like Pittman, Jackson, and that young quarterback, that is not going to sustain.
Well, when we talk about the dominant St. Bonaventure teams that you were involved in the years before and the years after, everyone talks about the skill players, of course, players like yourself and Zach Green at the running back position. In recent years, Whitney Lewis was absolutely astounding in his time at St. Bonaventure. But to me, the front 7 defensively is a big part of what defined the sustained success for the Seraphs from Mac to Therian and beyond.
Without a doubt. In my 3 years there, I had 4 linemen get Division I scholarships, and the tight end even went to Sac State. So our success definitely, and that was just the offensive side of the ball. Our success definitely was indicative of the play on the offensive and defensive line.
Here is a give to Wick, and Wick just can't get away.
A nice job by that defensive lineman coming up and shooting it out of the hips, wrapping up.
Yeah, defensive front for Oaks Christian. Cameron Townsend, we'll see. Grant McCreta. Remember Jalen Larry, who plays mostly on the offensive side of the ball, 6'4", 275-pound senior. We'll see him at defense as well, but he's one of the top offensive linemen in California. 2nd and 10. And St. Bonaventure takes a timeout.
What we've noticed here defensively, aside from the man coverage from Oaks, they have not blitzed Darius one time. And it's smart. It really is, because, they're saying, no, we're going to make you play, regular football. And that means we're not going to give you an opportunity to roll out. Because if you blitz somebody, that means that, you're going to have to get to them, because somebody is probably going to be open. There's a mismatch somewhere on the field, and they're not going to give St. Bonaventure the opportunity to feast off of their mistakes. They're going to make St. Bonaventure earn every yard.
Well, the thing that's been impressive about Vine so far is that he's looked most comfortable when he's just dropping back 5 steps and assessing who he has open. When he's uncomfortable, it's when they sprinted him out to the right on that 3rd down, and he really had no one to throw to. So for a quarterback who, when I remember him as a sophomore, was more run-oriented, to now turn around and be able to really read the defense and find the open receivers, I'd like to see him in those situations.
I agree. He's definitely comfortable back there in the pocket. A lot of people think because he can run, that's what he prefers to do. And like I said earlier, he's actually a run-first guy. He's very accurate. As you said, he's very comfortable
But we go back to the point is finding that receiver or two who can really make the plays.
You're exactly right. We got a blitz there.
Jailbreak blitz.
Oh, that
for
could be
Oaks.
pretty close for being a
It looked like they were
intentional
trying
grounding.
to dial up a screen there because, you know, the offensive line, I can't see St. Bonaventure's offensive line just letting everybody run in like that. But the running back didn't seem to get out of the wash.
Every Oaks Christian player was within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 10.
I think when a team does that, like you said, within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage, if I'm a receiver for St. Bonaventure, I'm taking that as extreme disrespect.
It is disrespectful. That's for certain. There is a safety deep about 9 yards at this point. Vines runs out of time, tries to step up, and he's sacked. St. Bonaventure moving backward. They had a strong opening drive, turned the ball over, and then a pair of 3-and-outs to follow.
Oaks is going to have another short field to work with. And that's saying they get down and cover this point and don't let Pittman run it back for a touchdown. It's something really uncomfortable to continue to let that guy get punt returns at the 50-yard line. Because it can't end up good.
Well, we've seen his speed. We've seen him go up and get the ball. We've seen his strength. There's a 5-yard penalty coming against the Seraphs.
Yeah, well,
Oh, it's against Oaks Christian. I'm sorry. It appeared to me that one of the Seraph linemen flinched before the punt, but that'll move Pittman back into his own territory.
we saw last week, Camarillo did a very good job against Calabasas return guys by kicking it to the sideline, negating really any long returns at those guys, and we just kick it right down the middle. There you go.
Angles it off to the side, and the ball will go out of bounds at the 44-yard line. It's very good field position, but at least Pittman didn't touch it.
Yeah, at least he didn't return it 30 yards.
Yeah, this defense is really being put to the test. This is the second straight drive where Oaks will be starting in St. Bonaventure territory. And you're asking a lot of a defense who's having a tough time stopping anybody all year to come out here and continue to get stops and wait for that offense to try and get going.
Is it the defensive line or is it the defensive backs? They don't have that lockdown cover guy, or what is it?
Well, I think the same problem they have offensively with the receivers is the same problem they have on the defense with their corners.
No penetration up front. Jackson just barrels his way through the left side and has a first down to the 30-yard line, a 14-yard gain.
You won't see St. Bonaventure play a lot of man coverage because, again, as you said, they don't have those kinds of guys right now. They have to stay in zone, and that gives them the opportunity to put more eyes on the quarterback and get more bodies around the ball once it's in the air. But that, I think, still the most important thing is that defensive line. They are not getting any pressure whatsoever.
Corral will keep, and Corral will be stacked up at the line of scrimmage. It's interesting to see how Oaks Christian is calling their plays. Jim Benkert is on the 35-yard line right now with no headset on, with no fancy lineup cards, with, Selma Hayek on it or anything. I don't know why that was my example. No fancy giant cards to call the plays. He's just dialing them into the entire team. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and it seems to be working.
It is. they look really comfortable. He knows that St. Bonaventure they're not getting any pressure with their front four, and they're not blitzing because they're overmatched. They can't afford to send an extra guy in there and leave somebody open if he doesn't get there. So, it's almost like a slow death if they don't get this this thing fixed.
Well, they did stop Oaks Christian last series on 3rd down, and a 5-yard penalty, another one against Oaks. By my count, that's the 3rd procedure penalty over the last 3 series.
Oaks is giving them help.
Yeah,
they're giving them help, but again, that defense, they're not the most confident bunch, and I understand why. So it's not going to matter here in a minute if St. Bonaventure can't score any points. It won't matter how many penalties the offensive gets.
Corral throwing for the end zone, and that is knocked away, incomplete. No penalty flag on the play. Solid coverage from Hunter Alonso on the far side.
Great job by that defense getting a stop there. And now they're in 3rd and long.
4th and long.
4th and long.
And they're
Okay,
going
I'm
for
sorry. 4th and long. They're going. Hey, I don't blame them. I mean, they're kind of in a no man's land right now. You're a little far for a field goal at the high school level. You're a little too close for a punt, especially when your opponent is having that kind of trouble moving the ball.
This will be the final play of the first quarter as Benkert sends in the play to the Oaks Christian offense. St. Bonaventure a little bit late to cover the trips on the far side. And now Corral takes the snap. Little bit of pressure. Flush to his right.
Holding. It'll come back.
Yep.
Pass is incomplete over the middle. The Seraphs will decline. There's a little bit of a pop in the step of St. Bonaventure defensive lineman Noah Bidow, and I think it comes at a good time for St. Bonaventure to make that stop. Yes, they're down 17-0, but they get the ball at the 31-yard line. They take the kickoff to start the second half even, maybe get a touchdown, get a stop, and they can get back into this thing.
And you're exactly right. That is a huge stand by their defense. 2nd in a row. I mean, I know the last one they got 3, but that's still a win for the defense when the offense is starting in your territory. That is a win to be able to hold them to 3 points. So, again, they were at a disadvantage from the jump. They got to stop. Offense, it's your turn. It's your turn to hold up your end of the bargain because this will not be able to go on forever. If you want your defense to keep that cockiness that they're trying to get, keep that confidence that they can't stop them, you're going to have to give them something to go on. Go down right now, get 6 points, make this a 2-possession game, and then you get something going.
Do you try some kind of a trick play or something out to get something going, or you just stick with a running game to kind of?
Now, Oaks will be expecting that right now. If you call a trick play without having been able to move the ball, it sends the wrong message. It sends desperation. And you call a trick play because you're trying to catch them off guard. And so right now it would be desperate, and Oaks would just be sitting there waiting. Now, I'd like to, since Oaks is in man coverage, you don't have that guy that you talked about in terms of receiver that can separate. Let's get some crossing patterns going. That's one of the things in man coverage. If you can get guys going different directions and you get a guy off track just a little bit, as accurate as Darius is, they can capitalize on that.
That seems what their first 2 completions were. They're kind of a crossing.
Wick gets around the corner and gets up near the 40-yard line. 2nd and 2 coming. It's a nice run from Wick.
Keep getting that running game going. Maybe you get a little play action off of that. Get the tight end going across the field. But I think what they need to do is I like the fact that they're trying to commit to the running game. You know, they're getting chunks of yardage in it, which is a positive sign, but they're going to have to sustain this drive. Let's get some crossing routes going, make them get out of that man coverage, and let them know that they're going to have to mix it up here on the defensive front.
Deshaun Staples is on an island here along the near side. Instead, St. Bonaventure will hand it off, and nice penetration from the offensive line, and a first down for the Seraphs up to the 44-yard line.
I like it. And they really can do this all night. They have 2 running backs. They have Santoyo, they have Wick. They can run the ball as many times as their offensive line will allow them to do it and set up everything off of that. You know, when a team is blatantly telling you that you're not going to pass the ball, well, then run it. And then once you're successful at that, well, then you come back to what you want to do best and let Darius be Superman.
Not to mention it gives the St. Bonaventure defense a bit of a rest. They
Without a
performed
doubt.
well on the last 2 series. What have they given up, Deuce? Only about 30 yards combined on the last 2 series, I want to say. And St. Bonaventure spends their second timeout. Let's take you through some of the scores as every league finally is underway now. Pacifica leads Wainimi 27-0. Calabasas on top of Agora 14-0. T.O. leads Royal 14-0. Westlake up on Moore Park. They struck first 7-0. Probably the game of the night outside of where we are is Newberry Park Camarillo, and that is 7-7. Rio Mesa leads Channel Islands 21-7. Carp leads Nordhoff 20-7. Simi Valley and Oak Park are tied at 7. I think that Newberry Park Camarillo game is going to be a good one.
Without a doubt. You got 2 great quarterbacks over there. You got Cameron Rising, another young rising sophomore. And then you got Jake Constantine, the Wiley senior, who I just can't believe doesn't have a D1 offer.
I don't understand what's going on here. I actually talked to his family about it a little bit, and we're all bewildered.
Yeah, they keep winning. I think it'll take care of that.
Isaiah Otis, by the way, is out tonight. He was injured in the second half of the thriller we had last week, that 40-39 Camarillo Calabasas game. Tipped up in the air. and picked off by Oaks Christian. It was blocked at the line of scrimmage and returned down inside the 25. Brandon Call with the pick. It's all going Oaks' way.
Just when you saw Oaks get out of that man coverage, you started out, and I was just about to comment on it. You know, obviously St. Bonaventure is getting something going, and you have that happen. And I got to say, it doesn't look like they'll recover from it this time. I just can't see this defense coming out here and getting yet another stop. Again, like you said, just when they thought they were going to get some rest, they're back out there unexpectedly. This can't be good for St. Bonaventure moving forward.
And the 2 turnovers, Lorenzo, have come at moments when momentum really was at its highest point for the Seraphs. Now going for Pittman as he stretches out with one hand, tries to haul it down. I wouldn't have been surprised if he had caught that.
Well, Odell Beckham right there, huh? But you're exactly right. And, you know, it seemed just when they're starting to get stuff going, you know, something bad happens. And so you don't want them to get to the point to where they expect something to happen at that point. You want it's like Oaks is expecting to score. And you can see it in how they're attacking, how the players are running the ball with authority. And it's going to be the opposite for St. Bonaventure. You cannot play and be afraid to make a mistake, and they're headed that way.
Tons of time for Corral to throw, and he completes that to Pittman. Again for just 9 yards. 3rd and 1.
So much time back there.
Yeah, he had all day.
So much time.
Can read the paper, have a cup of coffee. And now he'll work from under center. Jackson is 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and Corral will sneak forward and pick up a few. 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line for Oaks Christian. We are just about 14 minutes into this game.
I'd like to see Oaks try another fade down here to Pittman. I mean, he's easily got the size advantage and every other advantage there is probably.
Right.
So, and they're in man coverage, though.
That's what they're doing. Well, that's what Corral wanted to throw, but St. Bonnie doubled him. Now Corral is out of the pocket, running to the right, and he will finally be sacked.
Wow.
At about the 24-yard line.
Takes 5-6 jerseys to tackle one guy.
One sophomore.
Jeez.
Can't even drive.
I tell you what, again, it just speaks to the confidence of that young guy, and it's not just him. Obviously, when it's taking 5 guys to tackle your quarterback, you're really going to have some problems. But it's not just him. It's Pittman. It's the running backs. These guys are running hard. They're hungry. You know, they're going to try to do away with St. Bonnie early, just like everybody else. And so, you hate to call them front runners, but when you give a front runner who's used to winning that kind of leverage, a 17-point lead, and threatening to make it bigger. Severe disadvantage. Doubling Pittman here at the bottom like before.
Yeah, a complete double. Now Corral dumps it off over the middle to number 84, Colby Parkinson. That's his 15th catch on the year. 2nd on the night. Jack Cameron makes the tackle.
Getting the Megatron treatment, huh?
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson treatment down there.
It worked.
It did.
It only ended up being, about a 6-yard gain.
This is true.
3rd down and 13. As Jim Benkert sends in the plays here. Thorson Stadium, Bill Riddell Field. By the way, Coach Riddell will be joining us in the booth during the 3rd quarter. That'll be interesting. I always thought he would be a great broadcaster. The out and up.
Got a flag.
And it's good for 6. There is a penalty flag down, though, at the line of scrimmage, and it appears this one's coming back. Let's see as the referees confer.
I think that flag is pass interference down there.
Is there a second flag? I only see the flag at the 23-yard line at the line of scrimmage. There might have been a defensive hold.
Oh.
No, illegal procedure.
Again, Oaks is trying to help St. Bonnie. Every drive,
they're
giving them opportunities.
Whether it's a snap over the head or procedure penalties or a touchdown wiped off the board, they're giving the Seraphs a chance.
They've got to find a way to take advantage of it. And it's like you said, and the penalties, I mean, the turnovers by St. Bonnie are just they're uncharacteristic in that it's not a running back getting stripped. You know, it's not Darius throwing a pick. It's a fumbled snap. You know, it's a tipped ball.
It's tipped 20 yards in the air. Mike.
Exactly.
Corral with time on third down, literally
goodness.
with all day. Corral then hits Pittman. No, it's over the reach of Pittman, and it'll be fourth down. I think they might try a field goal here. 41 yard, 40 yards.
Here they come. 10 seconds to sit back there. 10, 11 seconds sitting back there.
And you talked about, I wanted to remark a few moments ago about, how this Oaks Christian team expects to score on every drive and even every play. Well, why wouldn't you when you have that much time?
Exactly.
And this kick is easily good. Another penalty flag down, and it'll go against Oaks Christian again. I'd let him try the kick again.
Yeah, he did have a lot of room. It makes you wonder, they might could have kicked that field goal earlier when they were down here when we talked about them going for it on fourth down.
I think so. The holder is Danny Riddell. I would guess he's related to someone.
There's another Riddell on
the JV team.
Varsity.
Oh, yeah, on varsity. Tommy Riddell.
Probably a grandson, you would think.
It's a procedure penalty, but it shouldn't. They went back about 15 yards. It's only 5 yards, fellas. 45-yard field goal.
I don't think it's the leg strength is going to be the problem no more. It's going to be the accuracy.
Nice hold, and I have no idea why they didn't try that on the other end.
Wide left.
That kid has got plenty of leg.
It is wide left, and St. Bonaventure will take over at the 20-yard line.
Another gift.
Boy.
Another gift.
They really are. This one could be down 35.
They almost are begging St. Bonaventure to be involved in this game. And the Seraphs just keep turning them back.
They care about the rivalry. Rivalry isn't much of a rivalry if it doesn't go back and forth. So they Oaks wants it to be close.
VCSPreps is here.
Yeah,
we're trying to make this game. We don't want to lose viewers.
Well, let me put it this way: the third quarter, Lorenzo Booker and Bill Riddell will be in the booth at the same time. I don't think the viewers are going anywhere. Sprinting to the right is Vines, and he completes. No. The intended target, David Lopez, didn't get a foot in bounds.
Looks like he had both feet down at the same time, but one was out. So if he could have drugged that back leg without having the front one down right away, it could have been a catch.
7:37 left in the second quarter. Danny Page, Lorenzo Booker, and the deuce. Derry Eads, we have, hard to believe, we only have 2 weeks left in the regular season, and then we'll be with you throughout the postseason as well.
Boy, it's been a long time since St. Bonaventure had the first down in this game.
Really, Derry?
Since their first drive.
Oh. I think they got one first down on the last drive, didn't they, with Wick, or was it intercepted on the next play? Here's Santoyo. Santoyo gets beyond the secondary.
Well, all I had to do is say something.
They heard you. They heard you.
There's been some space to run the football, too. It's not that, let's put it this way, there's been more space than there was in the Camarillo game specifically.
I'll tell you what, both offenses are helping the opposing team's defenses. You've seen St. Bonaventure hasn't had much trouble moving the ball when they're not turning it over, and Oaks certainly hasn't had trouble moving the ball. But it's been mistakes by the offense that has been their Achilles heel.
Tons of room for Santoyo. He gets to midfield, barrels through a tackler, and is down to the 43-yard line.
Last two runs, he's finished with authority, and that sends a message to the St. Bonaventure sideline. When you're finishing runs as a ball carrier moving forward, and on that last one had the safety sitting on his back, that's huge. Gets everybody all fired up. Shit, I'd give it to him again.
Absolutely.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't stop something until they make you do it.
When does a running back hit that limit? I mean, you have to feel it at some point. I know you never want to come out of the game. And this time, it's a reverse, a throwback to Vines. That's complete inside the 25, and there will be a late penalty flag against Oaks Christian for roughing the passer.
Tack 15 more onto it.
The passer was David Lopez, the 5'11 junior, as he hit Darius Vines. Remember, mind you, Darius Vines had – last season, 50 catches for 460 yards and 10 touchdowns.
You know what the crazy thing about it is, as good as he is as an athlete, as a receiver, I still thought his sophomore year during that 3-game stretch when he went down and he took over for Ricky, I really thought at the time that they should have left it that way for a little bit, because after that first game and he got those jitters out, they were really moving the ball and they looked really good. You know, I know Ricky Town got a lot of hype and, you know, he looks the part, but I just thought Darius was playing so well, and you got to wonder just how good they would have been had he been able to throw the ball to Liddell Atkins. I mean, that guy was amazing. But, you know, like you said, Darius, tremendous athlete, 500 and something yards receiving, so obviously he'll be on the other end of that trick pass. Darius been waiting on that one.
I've been waiting. They had to do something to really kind of get this thing going.
And here's Santoyo.
Boy, he has been a real solid guy this drive, hasn't he?
Yeah, let's be honest. When you say they had to do something to get this thing going, what's gotten it going? 2 authoritative runs by Santoyo to start the drive.
And that's what I was telling you earlier, Darius, that you want to try to get something going before you call out the trick plays, so that way it's not seen as desperation. They had 2 great plays by Santoyo, so now it just seemed like they were just trying to fool him and catch him with their pants down, which they were able to do just now. And another hard, tough run by Santoyo, and you saw his lineman trying to push the pile. So again, him finishing those runs sparked the attitude in his offensive lineman. Now they're trying to do it.
2nd and 4. Motion man is Lopez. Vines to throw. Tons of time. He can just run to the left side or throw it over the middle, and he throws behind his receiver. Is that who you were calling out that was open, Lorenzo?
Had they gave him more he was wide open. Oh, my goodness. Wide open in the middle of the field. But, again, the protection broke down, and it flushed him to his left. That's a tough throw to make on your left trying to go back to your right. But had he had just a split second longer, that would have been playing catch in the ball. He was wide open.
Looked like he might have been able to run for the first down.
I was so fixated on that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was fixated on the quarterback. I thought he could have run for it. 3rd and 4, and a big 3rd and 4 at that. 2 to each side. High snap. Vines will run on his own, and Darius gets
Short.
2 yards. 4th and 2.
You got to go for that.
You have to go.
3 is not enough. 3 is not.
Bringing out the kick team.
3 is not enough.
No. I agree.
Wow.
You know, we saw basically this exact decision in Thursday Night Football last night. It was 4th and short for San Francisco, trailing 17-0. They wanted to take the points. Bravo on to get the Seraphs on the board. And that kick is up and through, and the Seraphs are on the board. It is 17-3.
I mean, I understand the mindset. You want to get something on the board. You don't want to go in the half with nothing on the board. But I don't think Oaks has done anything that would make you think you couldn't get that first down. Now, there's things that St. Bonaventure has done to themselves. But, hey, call a timeout. Get everybody in the huddle. Let them know, do your job. Bill Belichick style. You know, hey, do your job. This just one play. Focused on this right now. They haven't stopped us yet. And go get the first down and put up 6. I think going for it on 4th down, getting the first down, and then getting a touchdown, man, that would speak volumes for not only the confidence among the players, but the confidence that the coaches have in them. Everybody's on the same page. Let's go out and get another stop.
It's a way to really turn the game.
I mean, they get the ball at the half. I mean, so you got to wonder, you know, and that may be his mindset. Look, we
Absolutely.
get 3, we get another stop. It gives us a chance to come down and score again before the half. So I do understand.
Don't give them any momentum, because really, if you're stopped here at 17-0 and Oaks has that momentum, this game might be over.
It really might. I got to say, I'm surprised that they're still in it. I really thought after that last turnover, the interception, I just thought Oaks is going to break Bonnie's back right now. But the defense, again, found a way with a little help from Oaks yet again.
Yeah. The defense is stepping up, and it's an onside kick, and St. Bonaventure jumped offside. Anyway, I shouldn't say offside, but the player just to the right of the kicker was about 2 yards out in front of the kicker. Poorly executed, but that was a big gamble.
Without a doubt. And you know, if you're going to gamble, hey, let's gamble right here on 4th and 1. You know, now if they don't get it, they're in your territory yet again, and the defense is at a disadvantage. If we're going to gamble, at least then if he didn't get it, they had the ball at the 10?
Yeah.
You know, and then you give your defense a chance to make a play, and then they punt. Now the tables have turned. Field position is in your favor now.
Well, I was looking forward to seeing this St. Bonaventure defense with a whole field at their backs as well, and now they will kick away. It's just another short kick, though.
Oh.
This one takes a Seraph bounce and goes out of bounds, but there's a penalty
That
flag.
wasn't a Seraph bounce. It was a Seraph bounce that would bounce straight
Right,
up, and the
that's
St.
true.
Bonaventure guy would have grabbed it.
That's true. It looked like it was going to work its way back to the St. Bonaventure player, but it did not. It went out of bounds.
If I'm kicking a pooch kick, my guys at the 1 and 2 position here on kickoff have to know that they have a chance to recover that ball. And it seemed to me that he just ran right by it. Like if he thought the kick was going deep. I mean, you know, if you're pooching it, I'm almost looking up because there's a chance you can actually catch that. You may not be able to advance it, but you can just catch it right there.
Right. You need someone guarding the near sideline, basically.
Exactly.
A lot of intricacies hurting the Seraphs tonight, and a lot of room for Jackson on the stretch play as he gets beyond midfield. To me, again, I wanted to see the St. Bonaventure defense be able to work with 80 yards behind him.
Agreed. You know, and again, like we said, I just feel like, you know, if you're going to take risks, let's take risks when the damage can be minimized.
Sure.
And I just feel like, again, you know, they have the ball here at midfield again. Like you said, you're putting the defense in a bad situation because they don't have as much time to recover if something goes awry and they get a big play.
Corral to Pittman. Pittman down to the 35-yard line. 4.5 minutes, 4:33 to go in this half.
God, he's such a big target.
Yeah, he is. And he really looks like he hasn't anywhere near grown into the size he'll be next year when he gets into a collegiate lifting program.
And now, well, he might have a collegiate lifting program going on at the house. You
Yeah,
seen
he
that guy's
probably
dad
does.
walking
Yeah.
around here?
Yeah, seriously.
Jeez.
3 yards on the play. Second down and 7. Things are a little different these days for high school kids, aren't they?
It is. It definitely is. You know, it's funny. When I was in high school, you know, John Mack, he had us already on somewhat of a collegiate program, and it was really foreign around the county at the time, with the exception of probably Coach Bingert. But you know, you see that now. Like you said, everyone is doing it. Everyone is starting football early. They're watching tape and lifting weights, and you know, and it's paying dividends for them.
Pass complete to Colby Parkinson down to the 12-yard line. 1st and 10 for Oaks, just like that. Knocking on the door again.
And it goes back to what you said. I mean, you just gave them 30 yards of field position. So instead of them being at midfield, you know, now they're 1st and 10 inside your 15. It's just a lot to ask a defense to do, to stop somebody
4 times in a row.
Exactly.
Right. Here's Jackson. And Jackson, he hasn't really run the ball with a ton of success tonight. Yes, they're getting positive yardage, but it's not like we were used to in the past with the Mark Tyler.
Well, they're throwing the ball
for 80 yards every play.
They've thrown the ball 19 times already. I mean,
Wow.
That's where they felt that they could really have the most success.
And I think that's one thing you look at with Jim Benkert coming in here is they're going to move to a more pass-oriented attack.
You know, and Jim's always been good about spreading it out and getting the ball out to nice receivers who can make plays. But you get a sense on this drive, he's like, listen, I'm not going to give these guys a chance to make a mistake or throw a pick. I'm just going to run the ball. You know, they've been able to do it, you know, but they've gotten away from it and wanted to pass the ball. And I understand when you got a guy like Pittman out wide, but you get the sense he wanted to be a little vanilla on this one.
Yeah, a couple passes completed, and then 3 runs from Gil Scott Jackson. An easy drive for Oaks Christian, and they're up by 3 touchdowns now.
24-3, 23-3. Probably going to be 24, but again, you know, I just feel like if you were going to take a chance, if you're St. Bonaventure, you should have done it in a way that it could have maximized, you know, what you were trying to get at, which is in points, and then minimize the damage. You know, at least if you don't get it, they're having to drive 90 yards, and instead they went 50.
Penalty against St. Bonaventure.
Illegal substitution is called against St. Bonaventure.
This should be a chip shot. This young kicker is just he's 6'3", 195 pounds. Jimmy Dorn. I mean, he could hit a kick from at least 50 yards.
Hey, Lorenzo, do you like the new NFL rule again on extra point kicks?
I guess I'm impartial to it. I understand they want to make The kick was easy. It was a chip shot. No one ever missed it. So I do understand why they did it. You're going to have teams go for 2, so I understand how it makes the game more exciting. I definitely do. And it puts more pressure on kickers, which, hey, man, they need a little more pressure.
Right.
I got to say, it was always a source of mild frustration for me to come out of my 3rd meeting since 7 a.m. and see them playing baseball with a big ball of tape and a flashlight in the locker room. It's like, man, there's got to be something more you can do.
So that's how it goes down.
Oh, man. I mean, there's only so much tape you can watch as a kicker, and then there's only so much kicking you can do at practice. So, I do understand, but, again, when you're so tired and you're beat up and, they're just so happy-go-lucky, it can irritate you around week 8 and 9.
For me, I'm a bit of a purist. I like to see rules stay the way they are. For some reason, I like that change. I can't really tell you why, but it does add an interesting element to the game. Now, there's no way it needs to happen at the collegiate level because we see crushing missed PATs all the time. I think back to this game when we were probably both in college, maybe just afterward, Oregon State and LSU, when the kicker Alexis Cerna missed 3 PATs, and LSU survived.
I know all about kickers and missing down there in Tallahassee.
A few wide lefts.
Oh, goodness. That one Oaks just missed gave me a flashback just now.
Oh, no.
Wide left. What? What's going on?
And it's interesting how a rivalry like that will always have moments like that repeat itself.
For sure. For sure. There's a few times I felt like I was back in 98 and 96. And
Darius Vines, the quarterback.
Santoyo again. I'd say if there's one thing, too, St. Bonaventure had 1st and 10. They got the ball down a 6-yard gain. They got the ball to the 6-yard line and then went away from Santoyo on the next 2 plays. And it's always easy to look at when a team runs the ball well and say, well, it goes back to Marshawn Lynch and Coach Carroll on the 1-yard line. It's always easy to second guess that, but if the beast is hungry, you got to feed him.
And that's without a doubt. And in Seattle's situation, it was 2nd and go with a timeout. Run the ball. but
see, I'm of a different school of thought, considering Lynch really struggled. Basically the worst starting running back in the league on the goal line.
Oh, you mean during the regular season and things like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can understand that. But in that game, he had already had 100 yards.
Yeah.
He had already had a touchdown.
Yeah.
And actually, the play before that, he had got 6 yards to even get him up to the 1. So I just felt like he deserved one more carry.
One more shot.
And, but like you said, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
New England is hoisting another trophy.
Oh, man. Here's Vines sprinting left. Vines tries to complete that to Mark Zielsdorf, and it's around Zielsdorf's feet.
Their receivers are getting no separation, really. When they're running down the field routes. When they're running short misdirection routes, it creates separation. But, again, like Derek keeps reiterating, they don't have a guy. And so, you can't call routes where, you expect a guy to be open because they're not going to be. I looked at both receivers downfield, and none of them were open. So you're going to have to call plays where the route gets them open, and then let Darius be Darius and have him put it on.
Well, I almost would like to see him maybe have a route where they come back to the quarterback.
Now Darius throwing deep downfield, and it goes just beyond the outstretched hand of the corner, and I think the corner got a little piece of it, enough to put the wide receiver off. The intended target was Staples.
Like go about 6 yards down and then come back.
Without a
Maybe do that a couple times, then break.
There were no easy throws.
And they had it. That guy, the slot on the bottom of the screen, on the bottom of the field, ran a comeback route, and he did have space. You're exactly right. He did have space, but they've only got a minute and a half left, and so, they're not going to be able to keep inching away. If they want to get points, they're going to have to start getting it in chunks here pretty soon. But, again, I'd like to see them do something where they run some kind of crossing route. They don't have the skill at the receiver position to try to just beat these guys man on man. And their coverage, which is man coverage, is indicative of that. They don't think so either.
There's your comeback route, Derry, although it might be about a yard short of the first down.
I like that route, when you have more time.
It's 4th down and 1. Santoyo coming out of the game. And it appears that Vines will work with an empty backfield. Checking in is David Lopez. And St. Bonaventure's going to have to burn a timeout.
Darius will look to run a lot faster than he normally does or has. I mean, they only need a yard. But I think Binker knows that. So it'll be important for his ends to get upfield and get contained and not let him break outside of that. I wouldn't be surprised if he blitzed somebody either.
At the very least, up the middle to throw off Vines on any sort of called or designed, I should say, draw play for the quarterback.
Without a doubt. And, and that comes with if St. Bonaventure can be successful on offense and just finish their drives. It's not that they can't get them going. They just can't finish them. But I think if they can start finishing their drives, then they'll force Coach Binker to take more risks like that. Now he's blitzing. And if you blitz and you don't get to Darius, now you're going to be in a situation where your defense is in trouble because now he has two options. He can run, and then now you get one of those just regular solid receivers all of that time. Maybe they get behind the coverage, and I've seen it happen a bunch of times this year with Darius. He breaks the pocket. He gets behind a receiver, gets behind the coverage. He gets a big play.
He really, and we've seen this since his sophomore year, he can throw from the pocket. He can throw on the run as well. And Darius will be under center on 4th and 1. Let's see if it's just a quarterback sneak. And it is, and he appears to pick up the first down. Oaks Christian faithful saying, nope, no way. And to me, it looks pretty clearly like it's first down.
Yeah.
I wonder if they called two plays there during the timeout. The sneak and then, another play to follow here after he picked up the first down.
I'm not mad at that play call. They only needed a yard, and you take out the fumble snap or the missed block possibility.
Now it's time to go, though, and Vines will run. He's beyond the 40. Vines inside the 30. Great run from Darius Vines. Clock stop at 1:11.
They blitzed the inside linebacker. He didn't make the play, opened up a lane. Darius took advantage of it. That is what you want to get Jim Binkert into doing, trying to take risks in order to get to Darius, and then Darius being himself and capitalizing on that. That is what they need in order to move the ball.
On 1st and 10, Vines rushed.
What a
and
play.
He gets away.
Got rid of two guys.
Another blitz. You open yourself up like that when you blitz, but when Darius is doing this kind of stuff, that's what you have to do to get to him.
He has to look on those scrambles more toward picking up a first down now specifically. No timeouts, 45 seconds, a crucial drive for the Seraphs. Blitz coming again. Vines, a complete miscommunication with his target, Moy Pedroza, and the clock stops with 39.6 seconds.
And the thing is, too, what you want, when Darius is able to get out of harm's way like that when you call a blitz, you want to get those secondary guys peeking in the backfield, wondering if do I need to pay a little attention to him running the ball so I can get up there and help. And by them paying more attention to Darius, they're paying less attention to the receivers, and now those receivers can get more separation when he is ready to just drop back and throw it.
Yeah, it looked like there were 6 players dedicated to the rush and watching Vines. There's 5 rushing at this point. Throwing to the end zone for Bravo, and Bravo brings it in with one hand but can't complete the catch. It was nearly a spectacular grab from the three-way player.
So close right there. And that's the gamble you take with man coverage right there. That ball was if it just had been a little bit closer. I still think it was a great throw.
It was. I think it was right there.
Yeah, it was.
And Bravo pulled it in with one hand, brought it to the chest, and it looked like he was going to make just a tremendous catch.
This is what St. Bonnie likes. It's sort of an organized chaos, for lack of a better description. You got Darius running around and just improvising, and that's what he does best.
And that's what he's going to do here, and he will pick up the first down. He'll dive forward inside the 15-yard line. At this point, I would just clock the ball.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to do.
That's what they're going to do.
Bernie Kosar isn't over there on the sideline, is he?
Yeah. Oh, man. So 25.5 seconds left. 2nd down and 10 coming. A touchdown makes this a 24-10 game with the Seraphs getting the football to start the second half.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And the thing is, they can definitely score right now. Again, it's not so much what Oaks Christian's defense has been doing. It's what St. Bonaventure hasn't been doing in terms of finishing drives. They've gotten down here. This is their 3rd time now. So let's see if they can come away with 6. 3 is not going to be enough. If they can get 6 going into the half and then they get the ball in the second half, like you said, now we got a game.
Third time inside the 15, only 3 points thus far. Vines throws, and it looked like the corner might have gotten there just a bit early, but the throw was a little low as well. Probably the only place he could have thrown it into traffic.
Without a doubt. You had the safety coming up, and the corner was just on his backside. So, it's a safe throw. You throw it high, and you risk it being, behind him or too far in front, and you get a pick. So I'm okay with that incompletion there.
Third and 10.
Incompletions, 11 of its last 12 passes.
Wow.
Incompletions, Derry?
Incompletions.
Ouch. Third and 10. Vines will work from under center. Interestingly enough. Straight drop, though. He has time to throw. He throws that behind the wide receiver, and it's off the intended target's hands. Let's see if St. Bonaventure will go for it on 4th and 10 or if they'll take a field goal.
They got to kick it. I'd kick it. You get the ball at the halftime, at half.
Well, clearly. You're on your own here.
I mean, if you went for a field goal earlier, why wouldn't you go for it now?
Exactly. I mean, we know they're getting the ball at halftime, so.
Be consistent with your approach.
It's a little bit surprising. 4th down and 10 inside the 15-yard line.
Well, it's essentially 4th and goal.
It really is. 14.6 seconds left. Vines
Five,
drops, has an open man, and it looks like he'll be
short.
stopped a yard short. Fine play from Oaks Christian defensively as Wick just cannot pick up the first down. It was a well-designed play, certainly.
I'm going to have to agree with Derry, though. You got to be consistent here. I mean, if you're concerned with walking away with points, then let's keep that approach. And I certainly can understand you kicking a field goal now because you get the ball back in 3.2 seconds. Now you walk away with nothing. And then it was 4th and 1. I mean, your odds of success were
exponentially higher.
A lot higher than they were at this particular juncture. I mean, to me, that's just not smart by the staff on St. Bonaventure's side.
A knee from Corral, and that will take us to halftime. All about Oaks Christian. St. Bonaventure's moved the ball decently throughout the game. They've showed that they can slow down the Lions, but it just hasn't been enough in the red zone. At the break on the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star, Oaks Christian 24, St. Bonaventure 3.
And ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to midfield and welcome your Oaks Christian varsity cheer team, performing a routine choreographed by Sammy Ritsidis and Bobby Joe Dallas.
Five, four, three, two, one. If you could take my
your Oaks Christian varsity cheer team. Introducing Chloe Gorzelski, Amber Morrison, Gwen Boyer, Haley Benton, Olivia Bianco, Ashlyn Galvin, Maddie Pavone, Kiara Bird, Jackie Clue, Emily Lamb, Eden Mindell, Jackie Sobel, Samantha Spear, Colton Benz, Weston Goodman, Nicholas Louie, Zach Sperling, Oliver Tate, Trent White, Liam Kelly, Bo Russell, and your captains, Bobby Joe Dallas, Katie Santino, Kelly Cody, Haley Thompson, Sammy Radzitas, and Olivia Chambers. Well done, guys. And now please direct your attention to midfield again for your Oaks Christian varsity dance team. Your Oaks Christian varsity dance team introducing Macy Alexander, Lauren Crocker, Chloe Duque, Greer Gustafson, Sophie Loftus, Gianna Losi, Kayla Mannion, Kelly Polino, Michael Pollack, Jordan Rankin, Kaylin Slevin, Mia Swindoll, and Caitlin Tenges. Coach, Ashley Gomez.
Halftime statistics in the ball game. First for St. Bonaventure. Quarterback Darius Vines was 3 for 9 in the first half for 94 yards. Receiving, Staples had 42 yards. Rushing, Santoyo 79, Vines 43. Total yards for St. Bonaventure 216. For Oaks Christian, Matt Corral was 12 for 15 for 227 yards. Receiving, Michael Pittman, 145 yards. Michael Parkinson, 59 yards. Running, Gil Scott Jackson had 80 yards. And Matt Corral had 22 yards. Total yards for Oaks Christian in the first half, 533. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have friends or family who can't be here tonight, they can listen on tonight's game live on casupportzone.com. Or tomorrow you can go back and relive tonight's game under the past games tab. That's casupportzone.com. Also tonight is Friday Night Lights at Calvary Westlake. The high school room will open at Calvary Community Church to all high school students for an after football game party and will last until midnight. It includes friends, free food, and fun. Also, Peroni's Pizzeria has generously donated the varsity football pregame meal for tonight, and they'll be staying open after the game for families to come and enjoy the food and just hang out. They're located across the street in the parking lot right next to Lure Fish House. Also, ladies and gentlemen, please remember to place your bottles and cans into the recycling containers that are clearly marked throughout the stadium. When you recycle, you help the environment, but you're also helping needy families throughout the world. Students from Oaks Christian School recycle these bottles and cans and use the money that they earn to support the work of World Vision in their efforts to fight poverty and hunger around the world. Thanks again for being eco-friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the senior class 50-50 raffle drawing. And with us here we have Kim Douglas, Hunter Douglas's mother, and she's going to announce the winning ticket. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. And now the winner of the GoPro, where all of the money goes to the senior class, is 660201. 660201. And this is for the GoPro. Winner, please report to the press box. I'm going to do it one more time. 660201.
He's over here.
Please come to the press box.
He's right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner of the GoPro. It's Remy Clark Red Star. Let's give her a big hand. Congratulations, Remy. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is Friday Night Lights at Calvary Westlake. The high school room will be open at Calvary to all local high school students for an after-football game party and will last until midnight.
Testing. You can hear that?
Includes friends,
You're going to
free
hold
food,
the hand
and
mic.
fun. That's Friday Night Lights at Calvary. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Oaks Christian Lions.
Back live at Thorson Stadium, Bill Riddell Field, as the Oaks Christian Lions lead the St. Bonaventure Seraphs. My name is Danny Page. With me in the booth, the Deuce, Derry Eads, Lorenzo Booker, and rarely do you welcome into the booth the person whose name, who the field is literally named after. But that's who we have, Bill Riddell, here as we get set to start the second half. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Appreciate it.
I always thought you'd be a great broadcaster, you know, and Lorenzo has been outstanding tonight in the booth, and it's good to have you with us here as well.
I remember Lorenzo Booker. He was a big-time St. Bonaventure guy.
Now where were you?
Wasn't he? Yeah. Okay. But it's hard to remember. They don't play that well. Okay.
But you never faced Lorenzo Booker, obviously.
I don't think so.
I mean, the first game wasn't until 2006. Lorenzo, were you class of 2002?
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
I was the same at Ventura, and that was kind of the greatest game that never was, right? the 2000 St. Bonaventure versus Ventura game. That never happened. But there were also similar matchups in the years that followed when St. Bonaventure and Oaks Christian didn't get a chance to play each other, but they finally did in 2006. Talk about how that game came together, Coach.
Well, that game was unbelievable. I think.
Well, for you,
I think St. Bonaventure was ranked number 1 in the state at the time with all schools, and I think Oaks Christian was 5 or 6, 7, something like that. And it was played at Larrabee Field. I think brought 10, 11,000 people there. My gosh, there was offshore betting on the game from what I understand. But I remember Casey Clausen telling me on Thursday we'd be up by 35 at halftime. I said, you got to be kidding me. The game's 7 points either way. And then best game we ever played. We were up like 38-7, 156-13. But they had a great team. The score doesn't look that way, but if you started the game over again, it could have been anybody's game.
Oh, don't know. I mean, you got 10 D1ers. 3 of those guys are in NFL locker rooms.
You guys were so
slightly
loaded.
disadvantaged. St. Bonaventure
Well, actually, 11 of those guys went Division I, and 9 of them ended up starting. I mean, not as freshmen, but they ended up starting.
Right. If 9 of them had started as freshmen, still an unbelievable figure. There was just such a buzz around Oaks Christian at that time, and there still is now, as Jim Benkert's Lions kick away to the Seraphs, and St. Bonaventure trailing 24-3 will start from their own 20-yard line. It's weird for us to say that in some ways. Jim Benkert's Lions. Doesn't that?
Yeah. Well, it's hard for me to say it also, but he was with me for 5 years at Crespi, did a great job, was quite instrumental in us winning the CF Division I championship back in 1986. He's done a fabulous job here. He's a very, very good football coach, high character guy. We're fortunate to have someone of his quality, here at Oaks Christian. He brought some good staff members with him, combining with the staff members that we already had at Oaks Christian.
Coach, who was your running back when you guys won that in '84?
Mark Tyler. Oh, excuse me. Back in 1986, Russell White was our running back.
Wow, really?
I thought so.
All of a sudden, you become a good coach when you grab a kid like Russell White.
Here's Santoyo for 6 yards up to the 26-yard line, and this is really a do or die drive for the Seraphs, isn't it?
It's without a doubt. I mean, like we talked about before the break, we would have liked to see them put themselves in a better situation in terms of maximizing their ability to put points on the board. We felt like they didn't, and it puts them in this situation. Like you said, do or die. They really need to go down and get not 3 points, 6 points right now if they're going to have any chance of staying in this game.
Some dynamic plays from Darius Vines, but Deuce, you've been keeping his stats as a quarterback and really littered with incompletions during that second quarter.
He was 4 of 15 for 60 yards in the first half.
What do you recognize, Coach, with a quarterback like Vines really unable to complete passes consistently tonight?
Well, I've seen him play other than this game. I saw him against Notre Dame in a scrimmage, and I think he's outstanding. The thing you have to do is you got to contain him. You got to keep him inside. You can't let him outside and run, even though he's been hurting you running the ball, but he's been running up the middle on you, okay, and that's we've had a tough time, stopping that. But he's an outstanding player, so you just got to try to contain him and keep him inside.
I agree with you 100%, Coach, and that was one of the things that Camarillo did so well when they played against him is they kept him inside the box. Even if they were in man coverage on the outside, the guys that they had covering the slots stayed in zone so they can keep their eyes on Darius, and if he tried to get out, they ran right up the field and forced him right back in. So I agree with you 100% on keeping him inside the box, and for the most part, they were able to do that, and I think that's his numbers passing the ball were indicative of it.
Yeah. Well, he's an outstanding player, though. He'll go on the next level.
They are daring St. Bonaventure to throw deep, and this is for Bravo, and Bravo makes the catch inside the 30-yard line. At the time of the snap, there wasn't – it's incomplete. He dropped the ball as he went to the ground. And that just sums up the night for St. Bonaventure, doesn't it?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. He almost had the one that was the receiver for the one-handed stab in the end zone.
Yeah.
Looks like he came down hard on that shoulder, too, so you hope he's all right. He can come back in the game. And that could have been the reason he dropped it because it looked like it was in his hands until they went to the ground, and maybe him coming down so hard on that shoulder is what dislodged it.
That was a big-time play right there.
Beautiful throw.
Great throw.
That was a great throw.
Beautiful throw. I mean,
they hit that, then things can change.
Exactly.
Boy, and that's your kicker, too.
And that's sort of been the story of the night. If they make that play, if they don't turn the ball over, if they convert on fourth down or recover an onside kick, they're in the game. But they haven't made those plays tonight. As Vine steps up, throws over the middle. That's complete up to the 47-yard line. Tackle on the play from number 22, Lee Pitts. A little bit of an unheralded player on this team, but Pitts has 6 interceptions on the year.
Yeah, Lee Pitts' dad, Ron Pitts, played 9 years in the NFL, and maybe you don't know this, but his grandfather was Elijah Pitts that played for the Green Bay Packers that scored the first Super Bowl touchdown and rushing touchdown in history of the Super Bowl. Wow. That was his grandfather.
Wow. He's got a serious lineage there.
This is a give to Santoyo, and Santoyo hauled down after a couple-yard gain. This obviously is a different atmosphere than when you started football here at Oaks Christian, isn't it? I mean, how have things evolved over the years?
Well, it's been unbelievable. We started off, I think we had 18 kids, and we had to practice at a park. And it's like that movie Field of Dreams. You build it, they'll come. You know, that's what happened. Everybody thinks we're out recruiting, but it's hard to keep up with St. Bonnie recruiting. But anyway, everybody thinks we're out recruiting guys. But I'll tell you, they just started coming. Then Jimmy Clausen came, and Mark Tyler came, and Duke Lemons, and Casey Matthews.
Here's Santoyo again, as Santoyo is up to the 40-yard line, and there's a late penalty flag thrown. Hey, we saw an absolute thriller last week, Camarion Calabasas, which, funny enough, it was the first time since the St. Bonaventure Oaks Christian game in 2006 that two area teams were both ranked number one in their divisions and played during the regular season in that game last night, and last week. That was a tremendous game, and obviously a couple of your proteges, the Clausens, were unable to pull through and win that game, but what they've done with that Calabasas program.
Casey and Rick, that's unbelievable what they've done as far as that program is concerned. They put them back on the map, and they've done a great job. They got some great kids coming in there. They have a quarterback that was actually here and transferred there, Jebbia, and he's done a great job for them. But the Clausens have done a very, very fine job. They're fortunate to have them at Calabasas. They'll do a great job there.
Number one Calabasas is just not a phrase we're used to.
Definitely not for me.
No. Here's Santoyo breaking one off. Santoyo down inside the 10-yard line. This is the fourth time now the Seraphs have been inside the 15.
Well, the key, the key for them is, again, can they finish? Like you said, the fourth time, and yet they have 3 points. So nothing new in terms of them moving the ball or getting the ball down there. Can they finish? Did that coaching staff make adjustments coming into this half to allow them to do that?
First and goal from the 10-yard line for St. Bonaventure. Santoyo the back again. Quick motion from the offset tight end on first and goal. And they go to the run. They go to Santoyo, and he only picks up a yard. If there's a unit that is unheralded for Oaks Christian, it is that defensive front. Everybody wants to talk about Pitts. Everybody wants to talk about, this wide receiving core and Gil Scott Jackson and your quarterback. But the defensive line's really performed solid tonight.
Townsend, he's done a fantastic job. They have a freshman in there, Celifo, that's a freshman. He's about 6'1", 6'2", about 275, 280. Starting freshman has done an outstanding job. There's some really fine kids in there. Seth Johnson. They've done a really good job on defense. About half the guys, or more than half the guys, are coming back. They're all underclassmen.
Vine sprinting to the right, now cuts it back at the 10. Beats one would-be tackler, and he fumbles the football, and it's recovered by Oaks Christian.
I got to say that when he first cut back on the first guy and he was carrying that thing like a loaf of bread, and I know he's a quarterback and I know he's running like that because it's possible that he was going to throw the ball, but once you turn into a runner and you know you're not going to throw it, you have to tuck the ball away. That didn't happen, and another turnover.
This game would be a lot closer without these turnovers, obviously.
Without a doubt.
2 turnovers inside the 15, a 9-yard gain on 4th down and 10, and a field goal kicked on 4th down and 2. I mean, if you convert those opportunities, it's a tie game, if not a St. Bonaventure advantage.
We've got no safety deep right now in Pittman at the bottom of the field. I got to say, had Oaks called a pass right there, with no safety deep and Pittman down there with only one corner, that could have been ugly. If they do that again, I would like to see Binker take a shot.
And now it appears the corner you're speaking of is playing a little bit off of Pittman, giving him a little cushion. And here's Jackson to run again. Jackson gets it around the corner. Jackson up towards midfield. Gil Scott Jackson, 30, 20, 15, 10, and he's hauled down just inside the 10-yard line. What a hustle play from Jack Cameron, but a huge run from Jackson.
You knew this was going to happen. There's just no way that you can continue to ask the defense to bail you out over and over and over again. I got to say, the defense has pretty much done what you expected them to do, is to continue to give the offense for St. Bonaventure chances to get back in the game over and over again, even with short fields. This was bound to happen. They break off a big run. St. Bonaventure will not recover from this.
Well, that Jackson's a special player. He's really come on the last 5 or 6 games. There he goes into the end zone. He's outstanding.
Walks into the end zone. That run, by the way, that long run put him over 1,000 yards on the season for the first time in his career. And really for Oaks Christian offensively, Coach, it's just a complete package.
Absolutely. Well, he transferred in here last year from San Diego, and he had an outstanding year as a junior, but he's really blossomed out this year. I think he's got a very bright future, ahead of him when he leaves Oaks Christian and goes on to college. I think you'll hear a lot about him when he goes to college.
Coach, as good as this team is right here, and we talk about some of the young talents, you got a freshman, Pittman, who I saw yesterday, looked like he was I thought he was the older Pittman there.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, number 4.
Yeah, you got a sophomore quarterback, and then you've got freshmen like Zach, I forgot his last, Zach Charbonnet. Yeah. You got Boudreau, the other guy. You got a lot of young talent.
Oh my gosh!
Here.
The freshman team are undefeated. They won 62-20 or something like that last night. Hey, did you see number 11 though? The guy that held for the extra points there. That's Danny Riddell now. Man, he's big time.
I could tell. For me it was the 5'8", 150 frame that really gave it away. But that is your grandson. Your other grandson, Tommy's on the JV team.
Yeah, both of them are on the team. My other grandson's playing at UCLA. He's a walk-on, the Bear Riddell, but, And I have a son, Randy, that's listening to this in San Diego. That was in the Air Force.
Awesome.
So big hello to him and Roxy.
It's got to be interesting for these young men, your grandchildren, to play on the field named after Grandpa. That's not a normal. That's not a normal thing for most kids.
Yeah, I don't think they even know it, to be honest with you. But it's nice. It was a nice thing for the school to do. I really appreciate it.
Was that your vision? To win 6 consecutive championships and a state crown, and put all these players, into the D1 level and put your name on the stadium?
Oh, no, you don't really think about that thing. It's, you're just fortunate. A lot of really great kids came to the school. I mean, it's a wonderful school, as you know. And we were just fortunate that they all came. It just turned out that way. I mean, when Jimmy Clausen came and then all those other kids came with him. Okay, I mean, it was, and then Clay Matthews coaching here, and then
that doesn't hurt.
Joe Montana and Wayne Gretzky and Will Smith and all those type people. It was really just, it was a lot of fun coaching them.
Bill, I remember the first year that you coached, I covered a game between you and Santa Clara. It was at Santa Clara.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked you for a roster. You went into the trunk of your car, and you got these passes. You guys were still trying to identify your players. But you had them on everybody had, or your coaching staff had the roster with them around their belts, so you could identify who was who.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
First year.
Yeah. I think we ended up with like maybe 29 players that first year. We played a JV schedule, went 7-3.
You only lost that year was like in the semifinals, wasn't it?
We went to the CF championship game 9 years in a row, and the other 2 years we were in the CF semifinals, and they ended up winning 7 CF championships. So it's been a good run here. I think Coach Banker will continue it on too. I really do. He's doing a great job, and a lot of kids are coming to school here.
I got to say, Coach, and Derry brought up the first time he had asked you for that. People don't realize just how successful you were before Jimmy got here, before Mark Tyler got here. You were a very successful coach before that. They don't know that you had already won a championship with Russell White down at Crespi. And so for me, coming from a private school and playing for another great coach in John Mack, it bothers me because it takes away from the job that you guys were able to do with your players when they attribute it to recruiting and different things like that. And when you win, winning and success recruits itself. And again, you've done a tremendous job. Jim Binker's done a tremendous job of being successful, and it takes away from all of the work that you've put in to do that.
Well, you know what, St. Bonaventure, John Mack did a fabulous job at St. Bonaventure.
Wide open is Bravo, who makes the catch. 15-10-5, touchdown Seraphs. They're on the board with 6 for the first time tonight. It's 31-9.
There you go. You got some separation there from the receivers, and really they got separation on the last drive. Again, Oaks has been in man coverage for much of the game, and they're basically begging you to do something like that, to take shots, in order to get them to back up. I mean, again, I understand why Oaks was in it. I mean, they haven't given them a reason to back out of it, so maybe that touchdown by Bravo, will get them a little more cushion, and St. Bonnie can become a little more balanced. and continue to move the ball.
The PAT is up and through, and it's 31-10. You think if only Bravo had been able to haul in a couple of those other huge passes where this game would be. And again, the first ball was definitely overthrown that he couldn't haul down in the end zone. The most recent play, it looked like he dinged his shoulder a bit. I'm not criticizing the young man. I'm just saying if that had happened.
Well, it'd definitely be a lot closer.
How did you – one thing I want to ask, in that opening game, how did you and Coach Mack agree to play the game?
Well, I tell you, I got to hand it to Coach Mack, because nobody would play Oaks Christian because you really had everything to lose and nothing to gain. A smaller school. And
Sure.
so John was really nice to be able to play that game, okay? And he didn't have to do it. So he knew it was a big game, and it was a big game for Ventura County, but John didn't have to do it. So I appreciate him doing it. And when he opened that door for us, then some other teams would start playing us. But he didn't have to do it. So he really had nothing to gain by necessarily winning that game. It was more like you had everything to lose, because if he beats us, he's a bigger school, or they had a better team, and they expected, us to get beat. But he came out and did that, and that helped us in the future. I appreciate John doing that.
I think John understood your situation.
Right. Back when you were.
Man, we were in that situation a lot, and he knew you guys were great. I knew you were great. I knew all the way in Tallahassee. I had been bragging to my buddies about how good we were, and finally they get to tune in and see a game that my high school plays, and it just happened to be that thrashing that we ended up taking.
Yeah, that was a nationally televised game.
It definitely was. But you guys were the real deal, and he knew it, and I believe that if you're going to be great, then you're not going to run from anyone, and John was never a person to do that, and he knew you guys were great, so why not test yourself against another great team?
Well, John and I have been friends, and we're friends then, and we did a couple All-Star games together, and so I knew him well, and I have great admiration for him.
Here's Corral. He completes the pass to the up back. That's good for a first down. Well, that'll be a perfect segue to my favorite personal Bill Riddell moment. We did a radio interview probably about 5 years ago, and I believe it was right after your semifinal win ahead of the upcoming game against Westlake in the CIF championship. And I interviewed you on the radio on KVTA right after, and you said, "I can't wait for this. Old Benkert's been ducking us for years." Was the exact quote. Talk about how that all came together, how you guys finally played, and now that he's your protege in some way.
Well, I don't remember exactly. Are you talking about the CF championship game when we won where the ball banged off the goalpost?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Well, Jim was like most everybody else. What does he want to play Oaks Christian for? He's got everything to lose, nothing to gain. So, and this way he was, forced to play us. But it was a heck of a ball game. I mean, there was no question we were going to go for two, because we felt if we didn't, we probably wouldn't be able to beat him in overtime. So we were fortunate to win that.
Hey, Binkert's closing in on your all-time career wins, huh?
Well,
3 away.
Maybe they're going to rename the field.
No. What we're going to do, he's still like 4 or 5 behind. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come back as the co-head coach.
Right.
You get credit.
You need to start getting that pretty quick there.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That.
Don't think he won't remind me of it. I can tell you that right now.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you a question. You bring up the Westlake, and you forget, at least for me, I was gone for so long, just how much of a rivalry that is. I mean, you guys could jog over to each school between Oaks and Westlake. Yeah. So for you, if there is one, which one for you was the more hated rival? Would it be St. Bonnie or Westlake?
Well, back at in the beginning years, I would say it was St. Bonnie. Now I would say it would have to be Westlake. I'll tell you one thing Jim did. He conned me into having our team walk. Okay, from here.
Did that really happen one day?
Yeah, okay, from here over to the stadium. We had a police escort, and everybody thought it was great. By the time we got there, I was exhausted. Okay, and I think our players were too. I think they beat us like 35-14 or something. But, he conned me into that. Thought it'd be a great idea.
Not so much. Fair catch called for, and St. Bonaventure will take over at the 21-yard line. So 2 league games coming up after this. It looks like Oaks Christian will go on and beat St. Bonaventure. But it's a 21-point game. Stranger things have definitely happened. Another score, and the Seraphs are right back in this. One thing I want to talk about is maybe the greater vision for this program and where you think they belong in a postseason sense. Obviously, you've had you had a stacked team with Brandon Dawkins a couple years ago that couldn't get out of the first round in the Pac-5. Do you think that over the long term, Oaks Christian football belongs in the top division in Southern California in the Southern section?
Well, they'll have to be. Yes, I do, but they'll have to continue to have kids, come here that can play. You can't get 5 or 6 kids a year. You have to have 15, 17 kids coming in that can play at that level. Okay, and I think the school recognizes that. So, we don't the scholarship things, everything. I know people think we do, but everything's on financial aid.
Right.
And we got a good financial aid program for kids that want to come here. So, I think yes, I do think we belong at Division I level, but you have to do things a little different if you're going to play at that level.
And Bill, what do you think about the new playoff format that they'll have next year, where it's going to be like basketball?
I'm not really totally familiar with that, but that's where it doesn't really matter what league you're in.
Right,
okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's maybe something they can experiment with for a while, a couple years, see how that goes. Because you get in this big debate between private schools and public schools and who has the advantage and things like that, where it's there's probably some merit to both. I think, is it Texas where the private schools are separate and the public schools are separate?
Yes, they are.
I think it's Texas.
They have the TCIL.
Yeah.
See, and I think St. Bonaventure is actually, we talked about your freshman team, and again, you do have to have guys keep having to have talented guys come in here in order to compete at that level. And again, looking at your freshman team yesterday, I'd say you guys are in pretty good situation to continue to be able to compete. Obviously, you've got one of the greater coaches, around here, and Jim Binker down there. So from a coaching and discipline standpoint, they're going to be fine. Your talent looks outstanding. I think St. Bonaventure is in the exact opposite situation than you are. I think they're going to have a tough time trying to compete in this division, and I wouldn't be surprised if you ended up seeing them over the course of the next 3, 4, or 5 years dropping back down to a lower one because of it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's gonna be hard for St. Bonaventure to drop down, or for Oaks Christian to drop down, because nobody's gonna want to take us. Either one of us, and they want to keep us up there and get even with all the things that got beat.
I think Lorenzo, though, that there's something and as the referee creates space for Vines, that pass is knocked away on 2nd and 11. I'm a USC alum. I was the student commentator during a run where USC went 48-4, won 3 Heismans, 2 national titles. When you're a part of these incredible football programs like you both have, people today have to be reminded, fans have to be reminded of the fact it's not always going to be that good, Lorenzo, and that would be what I would say in terms of the St. Bonaventure program. Every year is not going to be 14-0 section champs, and I think people need to understand that. But if you have belief in your program and you truly love and are dedicated to that program, then you'll do everything you can to bring it back to prominence.
I hear you, and that's why I don't think it's going to happen right away. But I do think that, like I said, 3, 4, 5 years, I think that conversation is going to start being had.
Penalty flag thrown as Wick came out of the backfield, and he was absolutely drilled. It'll be a first down for St. Bonaventure. That did not look good.
I'll tell you what, people expect St. Bonaventure and Oaks Christian to be up there. I mean, they expect it, but I'll tell you what, it takes the administration of the school to say, okay, we're going to compete at this level, and then if you're going to do that, you have to do things differently.
And that is
Mater Dei, St. John Bosco, Bishop Gorman, schools like that. They have to make a commitment to playing at that level. And if they do that, you can. If they don't, then you're going to end up being dropped down.
And I think that's going to end up being their Achilles heel. It just doesn't seem like the commitment on an administrative level.
Well, there may be reasons, for that. Okay.
Well,
financial, whatever.
The enrollment's gone down quite a bit.
Yeah.
When you were there were over 700 kids.
Yeah, almost 8.
Now they're down to under 600, aren't they?
Yep.
Well, they're 800 when Bonaventure was there, but 700 of them play football.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then you look at
it was like Nebraska.
Then you look at a private school like Mater Dei, and there's 2,000 students at Mater Dei.
Right.
Right. So it's a completely different situation. Just to bring you up to speed, Bo Calvert, the 6'4", Here we go. Here's a sophomore that's 6'4", 220 pounds. Did he transfer in from Nebraska or something?
No. He transferred from.
We don't have kids that big.
Sierra Canyon. He has a brother that's a quarterback, Josh, that's on the freshman team. He's an outstanding quarterback. He's really good. Great safety. Yeah, but this kid right here that's a sophomore, I mean, he can play. I think he may have already been offered from BYU, if I'm not mistaken.
He was actually ejected from the game as well. So
was he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he was ejected from the game as well.
On that last play?
Yeah.
See, that's, we talk about all these rule changes. That's something. Listen, this is football, okay? And I do understand trying to make the players safer, and, you feel like, listen, throw the penalty, that's fine. But when you eject a guy from the game, and is it the next week too? Is it
you're ejected next week too.
I mean, are you out for the entire game next week? Or just,
the whole game?
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're done.
That's ridiculous. I don't think anybody – I've never played with a player who intentionally goes out there and tries to hurt somebody, but football is a physical game, and to eject a guy, not just this year, but not just this game, but the next game too. There has to be a line drawn at some point.
Well, especially at this level, Lorenzo, at the level that you played at, you're a paid professional, and if that's what the rule says, and you make a mistake, maybe you should be out. These are kids, Kids, that's what the life of a kid is. It's surrounded by errors. And to make one error and be ejected, to me, seems a little egregious.
And then what you end up doing is you think, and coach will tell you, you can't think and play at the same time. Football is, in most sports, you have to be able to react out there. And sometimes through reacting, those things happen. But again, I think the maliciousness about it is if it's intentional. And there are some hits that you can look at and say, okay, that's intentional. But I do think of the majority of the flags thrown that most of them are not that way. You just have kids who are still trying to learn their bodies and perfect their craft. They're just reacting, and to get punished 2 games.
That's
a lot.
Right, Lorenzo. I mean, you can tell if it's intentional, okay? 99% of the time you can tell if it's intentional, so I'm with you 100% there. But football's a tough game. I know they're trying to, change it a little bit so there's not, so injuries, especially at any level, but in particular in high school. So they're kind of erring on the side of being a little overly cautious. So,
well, that was 2 kids going for the ball at the same time.
Yeah. Coach, when did you first get involved in football?
Oh gosh, way back. I remember I was in the second grade. I remember walking home from school and I saw them, playing out there, and that's what I really wanted. I went home and talked to my dad, and he said that's what they're doing. That's what I always wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to do by the time I was 7 years old. I wanted to do this, so I've been involved in it all my life. I had a few detours. After I played in the Canadian Football League, I coached for 1 year, and then all the coaches got killed in a plane crash except for myself and the head coach at Cal State Fullerton.
Really? And you were a part of that?
No, I wasn't in the plane.
Right.
But
I had no idea.
Yeah, so I got out for like 9 years, came back in.
You were in the insurance business for quite a while.
Yeah, I was in the insurance. I went in the insurance business. I was in that in the off season of playing professional football. So I got back into it in 1980 at Cal Lutheran with Bob Schaub for a couple of years. I took the Crespi job and then went to the USFL for a couple of years and came back.
Did you ever imagine the game would be where it is today, where, at the highest level, it's the highest rated television program every single week, for example,
It's unbelievable. Even high school is probably like college was 20 years ago.
Right.
Even the high school programs.
Yeah.
And the talent level at high school is fantastic.
How do you feel about the difference in recruiting and really more specifically how social media how that's taken recruiting to an entirely different level? I mean, you get high school players now that are treated like celebrities in some ways because, back in the day, I mean, I remember just when I was in high school having to get 2 VCRs and get 2 cassette tapes to make my my highlights, send it out. Now, I mean, you got these websites, you got YouTube, you got Facebook, Twitter. I mean, there's so many different ways now to get recruits. You got recruits signing on national television. I mean, pretty much that's like the standard now.
Well, the college recruiting is unbelievable. But even in high school, I mean, it's quite frankly, it's got a little bit out of hand, way out of hand.
You think it's out of hand
out of hand nationwide on this recruiting? High school kids are recruited to other high schools. They're recruited out of one high school to another high school, and it's going on all over the place. Oftentimes, it's it's parents shopping their kid around.
Sure,
and it's just not football. It's all sports.
Yeah, you're right, exactly.
The Serifs have pulled within 13, and this is getting a little interesting, isn't it? Excuse me, pulled within 15. It's 31-16 as the pass is completed to Moy Pedroza. For Pedroza, it's his third touchdown of the season. And as we're having this great chat here, Oaks Christian commits 2 15-yard penalties on that drive, and St. Bonaventure's within 2 scores.
Starting to take advantage of some of those gifts Oaks has been giving them.
31-16.
That could be a big block right there.
It certainly
now
could.
you got to go for one, and then got to go for a 2-point conversion to tie.
Exactly.
Do you kick the ball in this situation back to Oaks Christian and force them to pick up a couple first downs?
Without a doubt. Your defense has been playing. You got 2 straight stops.
Well, you got to keep it away from Pittman.
That's for sure.
I think my grandson may be the other guy deep there. You kick it to him, he'll take it all the way back.
Right. I would love to see those two in a track meet, you know.
Who, Pittman and my grandson?
Yeah.
Can you get on the cell phone and talk to Minker?
Right.
He didn't listen to me anyway. He didn't listen to me when I was the offensive coordinator when I was at Crespi.
I mean,
Fortunately, that's probably why, I said, give the ball to Russell. That didn't take a lot of intelligence.
It's incredible to see him out there calling plays in this offense with no headset and none of the giant signs or his backup quarterbacks aren't. He's just calling the plays with his guys out there.
Let me tell you, when he was at Crespi way back in 1986, he called our offense. Okay, and
really,
he was excellent. He did an excellent job. Excellent job. He's a very talented football coach. He could coach really at any level.
Now, wasn't Mack and Tim Lenz also in your staff there?
John Mack wasn't. Tim Lenz was on my staff. I think I've had like 15 coaches go on to be head coaches in high school. And quite frankly, I mean, almost every single one of them has been very successful.
Name
Tim
drop
Lenz,
a couple other names that were involved there.
Yeah, well, Tim Lenz was one. Joel Wilker, guy named Hyduke. Okay, Jimmy Bonds. Well, he was more at St. Francis. Jimmy Bonds. Mike Sanders, who was at Thousand Oaks for a while. Ronnie Geringer, who was, I think he's at Corona Centennial or was.
Up top.
Oh, he got him.
Yeah, he's got Pittman throwing about 50 yards downfield, and Pittman makes the catch. What a throw from a sophomore. About 55 yards in the air, I want to say. 1st and 10 Oaks from the 22.
Let me tell you, this sophomore quarterback, Corral, he's the best. He's the best I've seen for a sophomore. Now, when I had Jimmy Clausen, okay, Jimmy could read coverages, and Jimmy was probably the #1 high school recruit in the country at that time.
Yeah, he was.
But this Corral, the big thing he can do is he can run. He can run when he needs to.
Yeah, and like you said, he can't just get out of trouble. He can actually beat you with his legs, right?
Yeah,
like you said before.
He reminds me of that Mariota from Oregon, University of Oregon. He could run too. I think Matt could probably run a 4.5.
Wow, really? Well, he certainly doesn't carry himself as a sophomore. You know,
he's 6'2", 185. He's one of the best sophomore quarterbacks, if not the best, I've seen in my 26 years.
Wow. That's serious praise coming from
that's huge.
No, we've had some great quarterbacks here at Oaks Christian. I had great ones at St. Francis and at Crespi.
Wasn't your first quarterback, didn't he go to Oklahoma State or something like that, or Oklahoma?
Well, actually, he was the guy that played ahead of Jimmy Clausen as a freshman, Joey Halsley.
Yeah.
And they traded off. I think Halsley started almost every game, but Jimmy would play maybe quarter and a half, or by the end of the season he's playing half the time. But he ended up going to Oklahoma, and he and Bradford were battling out for the starting. And then Bradford won the Heisman Trophy. Okay, so, yeah, Joey Halsey was an outstanding quarterback.
Play fake on 3rd down and 10. Pressure. Corral gets away, stretching to his right, looking to throw. Gets around the corner, cuts back, and is near the first down marker. He's about 2 yards short.
Number 75 gave him about 5 more yards. He kind of turned him around and...
Yeah, that's Nicholas DeFranzo, Nico DeFranzo. He's a junior lineman, 6'2", 270. He's an outstanding prospect.
Well, I tell you what, you see them really trying to lean on Pittman here. They're trying to go to their guy now that this game has started to turn interesting. Before he took off and ran, he was looking right at him. That was basically 3-4 plays in a row where they're trying to get him the rock, and you definitely understand why.
Now trotting onto the field is, for me, the player of the game so far. That would be Danny Riddell to hold. The kick from Jimmy Dorn.
Ooh, he
Dorn's
pushed it
kick
left.
is wide to the
Oh,
left.
no,
No.
Wow, good.
Looked like it went left. That's big 3 points right there.
Yeah, huge.
That's one thing I can ask both of you as it's 34-16 now. What is it like playing only half of most of your games throughout the season? I mean,
I really don't know, Dave.
yeah.
I mean, because
You weren't directing that
Well,
question.
then as a sports writer, you loved it because you'd be writing your gamer during the third quarter every time you'd cover St. Bonaventure.
I mean, maybe when you're so
Thank
far
you for
ahead,
asking
when you're
me,
so
Danny.
far ahead.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
definitely
the
had
early
to get
years,
there
we
on
used to
time.
have meetings on how to keep the score down. We'd have meetings on how to keep the score down. And people that would get upset would be the starters. Their parents were upset because they were paying less than the backup guys.
Yeah, and that happens. You definitely had to get there on time. You were there.
It was really a longer process for both St. Bonaventure and Oaks Christian to rise up the divisions. And you do wish, for example, with you, Lorenzo, I think winning the Division 11 championship, we probably would have liked to have seen you guys a little bit higher up, obviously.
course.
And the same goes for your Oaks Christian teams.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of fun watching my grandsons play because Danny and Tommy, but their dad, Ronnie, went to Stanford.
Flag.
Penalty flag down at the 20-yard line, holding against the Seraphs. There probably should have been a flag after the play, too. But a long field in front of Darius Vines and company. You were saying?
Well, their dad, my son Ronnie, who was the father of Danny and Tommy, he played at Stanford and went to the Indianapolis Colts. Had a cup of coffee there. He had the speed of his mother, so they cut him. But then I have another.
So you're
son.
saying if he had your speed, he'd have
That's
2
right.
cups of
That's
coffee?
right. He'd still be playing. Okay, and then the other son, Billy, his son walked on at UCLA, so he's a quarterback.
Just to take you through what is going on throughout the county, Newbury Park actually took a 17-14 lead against Camarillo, and Camarillo has just run off 4 straight touchdowns in the third quarter, and they lead 42-17.
Yeah. Does Newbury Park play 11-man football?
Last time I checked.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Last time I checked. First down and 10 for Vines. And that's intercepted, picked off, and diving into the end zone to confirm this victory for Oaks Christian. Colby Parkinson, he had a couple important catches on the offensive end. He just rises up, hauls that one in, takes it in for 6, and it's 40-16 Oaks Christian.
It's a great play by that guy.
Kobe's a junior, and he's been offered by USC.
Has he really?
Yeah.
At what position? Defensive end or at?
Well, I think they're looking at him like a slot receiver,
Got it.
tight end slot receiver.
I was surprised by that because he only had 13 catches coming into tonight.
Yeah.
Now he's averaging about 30 yards a catch. So.
But he could be a defensive end also.
He just proved that one, huh?
Yeah.
What's it like for you as the coach and now an ambassador, obviously, for this program, dealing with collegiate coaches, helping your players get the best looks while also trying to control the chaos a little bit?
Well, my title is Director of Football Operations, and really what I try to do is work and help these kids as far as colleges are concerned, make sure they're seen through Huddle. Although the way that they do it today, all these colleges are access to Huddle, so they see them all, but we send out special tapes on each kid, and I get on before and talk a little bit about them. But they all know about them, and Oaks Christian is considered one of the top 3 high schools in the country as far as, placing kids, in the division, whether it be Division 1, 2, or 3 level. So, but we work hard at trying to help these kids, find a place to be able to go, especially if they want to, continue to play football in college.
Oaks Christian will kick away, and if I'm not mistaken, yes, back to receive for St. Bonaventure is David Lopez. Instead, this is taken by Marquise Allen, and Allen is hit hard.
Yeah, he
He's a little slow to get up. Let me ask you this, as we're, getting away from the game a little bit here. It is 41-16. What's the greatest game you've ever been a part of?
I think for me it was probably for a high school game, it was probably the state championship game at the first state championship that was played in Home Depot. Where we played.
First ever at any level, I believe it was, right?
Right, well, and for many, many years. But we played Cardinal Newman, and we won in overtime. I think that was – and then that St. Bonaventure game way back in 2006 that it was nationally televised. Those are probably the two biggest
Yep.
games we played. Then the '86 national or the CF Division I championship when I was at Crespi. Those are probably 3 games.
And who was that against for Crespi?
St. John Bosco.
What about you, Lorenzo?
What level? Just in general?
Just
completely?
pick one. I mean, what sticks out?
Well, high school would have to be the first championship I ever won. I had never won a championship before, and we won on 4th and 1 on the 1-yard line with 11 seconds left in the game.
And the linebacker has a
yeah, I didn't even carry the ball, but it was just the first time I had ever won a championship, and so that sticks out. From a college standpoint, it's probably when we beat Miami on Monday night. There's almost 100,000 people there, and I was able to lead the team in rushing and receiving, and it was just the kind of game that I had dreamed of playing in. My entire time of wanting to go there. In the pros, we were so close to going to the Super Bowl against the Cardinals in '08, and Kurt Warner took care of that.
Right. An illustrious career, certainly, for both of you. But I have to say, and Coach, you were obviously at Crespi. You came here to, again, this is on the L.A. County side, but we consider Oaks Christian part of the coverage area for the Ventura County Star. And Lorenzo, for you, when I've seen you at least from a distance, you're at half the games we do because you love local football. And Coach, I want to ask you just what it's been like to be at Oaks Christian and to be a part of this little football family within the county.
Oh, it's we're actually about 10 yards from being in Ventura County.
Right,
I think the wash right over here is what separates us. But it's tremendous football in Ventura County. I mean, outstanding. I mean, the college coaches that come here, this is an area that it's a hotbed of recruiting. Okay, all here. All these teams are great. I took a little shot at Newberry Park, but they're outstanding. They're outstanding. They're a very well coached team, and I have George Hurley's a very good friend of mine that used to be the coach there. But they're out. It's an outstanding county as far as football. Very well coached. A lot of great coaches in the area. It's a lot of fun. A lot of competition.
What about you, Lorenzo? What have been your observations since you've been on the sideline watching games?
To piggyback off what Coach just ended off is, the coaching. The coaching to me is just tremendous. Because when you have a program like Westlake or what Coach Riddell was able to do at Oaks or what John was able to do at St. Bonnie. And now, those coaches have dispersed amongst different teams in the county. And then you had Keith Smith come back from Arizona and doing his thing, and now he's at Newberry Park. Look where they're doing. You got Casey at Calabasas. You got Tewa Sanchez now at Camarillo. John is now at Oxnard. There's so many great coaches now all over the place, and what it does is it builds the county as a whole. There's so many more better teams. Look how much better Ventura is. Camarillo's on their way up, and so the quality of football has gone up because of the success of the county. And that's what you want to see. I mean, it's great to have these little rivalries with St. Bonnie and Oaks Christian and Westlake and all of those different things. But when you leave and go to college, I think you take an overall appreciation for your area and just how much talent comes out of here. And so I'm very proud of that. That, like he said, all these coaches from Paterno to Bowden to Nick Saban, they all know where we are.
I think one of the biggest games in county history that really put the county on the map was the 2003 game between St. Bonaventure and Westlake, two teams that were 13-0, first time in state history. Two teams were 13-0 in a CI final, and I think both teams were ranked pretty high in the state, and I think that really put the county on the map because they played. It was a great game.
Did Lorenzo play in that game?
That was the year after I left, but my buddy Whitney handled business.
Okay.
That's the best high school player I've ever seen. I mean, he could do everything. And Derry was there. He could tell you that. That to me, that is the best single game performance given the magnitude of the game, like you just said, and the type of performance that Whitney was able to do, 100 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing. He may still be the only player in state history to catch and receive for 1,000 in the same season.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had like about 350-yard total offense in that game.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
And came out early.
Yeah, he came out early. His game was over.
Well, I remember talking to John Mack about that. He wouldn't play Oaks Christian.
Not at that point.
Oh, man. Great memories here, with two people who have been these larger-than-life figures in Ventura County. Well, we got the dudes here. Make it 3.
I was about ready to say. I was wondering whether I was one of the two or not.
No, not really.
You're a legend, us, D.
Not really.
I'm like 2B. Or not
man.
to be, one of the two.
I used to watch, read Derry's each column, watch him pick, who's going to win the game. He used
Sure,
to do that,
sure.
I think he was like one year, he was like, 30%. 30% wins, 70% losses.
Hey, I remember getting calls from you on Mondays. Why don't you pick this number 1? Why don't you pick this number 1? Why is St. Bonaventure number 1?
I did that?
You did that just about every Monday.
Well, I should have done that. I mean, my gosh.
That was your job.
I knew, if you're number 1, it brings more kids to the school.
Yeah. Right about that.
Here is Jackson, and Jackson's off to the races. Taken down just inside the 10-yard line. He runs into the fence on the far side. I hope he's all right. I think he's okay. Yeah. Looked like an ice hockey.
No, he's broke loose here the last 3 or 4 games. He's showing that he can, play really at the next level, I think. He's throwing some speed, run away.
Yeah, I think he'll
so.
Be a D1 player?
I think he'll be a D1 player, no question, yeah.
Say last 2 big runs he's had, that one and then the run that he almost scored on, covered on about 78-yard run. Both times Jack Cameron's playing safety for St. Bonaventure ran him out of bounds. And for a team who's struggling, it's the skill position at receiver. This is a guy who I'd like to see play on the other side of the ball as well. I mean, he's one of their better athletes, period. He and Darius Vines. And I really believe if they need to get him involved more on the offensive side of the ball. They need all the help they can get at the skill position, yet he's only playing one way.
Well, I think the first 2 games he did pretty well.
He did.
He's totally out of the offense after the second game of the season.
I mean, he just ran down Gil Scott Jackson twice.
Twice, right? Well, I mean, the second one he had a better, but the first one certainly, I mean, he literally ran him down. And again, he's one of their better players, and he's playing on one side of the ball.
Corral again loses the snap and again turns it into a touchdown for the second time tonight. 47-16.
He's going to be scary to watch when he's a senior.
I'll tell you, he's special.
He's going to be scary to watch.
He's a good kid, too. He's a good kid, modest kid. Yeah, I'm very impressed with him.
Coach, that fumble or the snap that went over his head that he turned into a touchdown was just phenomenal. I mean, you're even lucky to fall on that. That's what the rest of us mortals would do.
He threw the ball about 50 yards in the air off of his back foot.
Pretty incredible stuff.
Tremendous poise by that young guy. I'll tell you what.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you. We were wondering about this earlier when he threw that touchdown pass where he had to go all the way back for the ball
on
at
the
about
fumble,
the
on the
2-yard
fumble?
line.
Yeah.
Was that a kind of a design? Where you practice something where a mistake happens and the receiver goes to a certain point on the field?
I'd have to say to you, no. That was just the kid's individual effort.
That's a sports writer.
Although you do when a quarterback has to scramble, you are taught to be able to scramble as a receiver in the same direction.
Scramble.
Okay, in other words, run towards not towards him, but run the same direction that he's going, so he can get the ball to you.
Well, it looked like he ran the opposite direction.
Yeah. Well, if you can see him get deep.
Yeah, he was open by about 25 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about earlier, it's hard to blame anybody on the defense when you see the ball jet 15 yards behind the quarterback's head. To tell him he should have been covering the guy is a bit far-fetched.
Yeah. And it's just great play by the quarterback to kind of really have that mindset to make that play.
He didn't panic, that's for sure. And I got to say, as poised as he's been all night, the most impressive stat to me, particularly for a young quarterback on an undefeated team tonight, he doesn't have any turnovers.
Oh, Corral?
Yes, tonight. No turnovers tonight. That to me is the best.
Yeah.
The best thing about it.
Hey, number 11's going in the right corner.
Look at that. We're gonna keep an eye on that and make sure we're hitting record for huddle, right?
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have even told you.
Danny Riddell.
Because he's playing right up on that guy. You can go right by him.
Trip him.
It's a proud moment for you, though. I think this is your first grandson to play at the varsity level, correct? Here?
Yeah. Well, no, I had a grandson at San Ynez High School that was the quarterback for San Ynez High School.
Right.
Did you have a grandson at Crespi?
No, I played for all my 3 sons played for me.
Yeah. We know what he was.
No,
we know what he was.
My son Randy went to Air Force Academy, and then my other son Billy went to UCLA, and then Ronnie went to Stanford.
You're old, but not that old.
Oh, that's right. I'm 74.
Years young.
I'm starting to feel it too.
Well, one thing we always heard over the years was that Bill Riddell would be a great commentator as well. That was the rumor, is that when you retired, everybody was going to try to get you in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, well, I may have ended that tonight.
No, it's been great to have you up here. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been special to see someone who grew up in the West County. It's been special to see the way that Oaks Christian has elevated football for the entire region, really, and to see what you started. Maybe this wasn't your vision, but I'm sure glad it's the way things ended up.
Yeah, it's been a tremendous run. I've been very fortunate, very fortunate.
Here's Vines, still going to work. Doesn't get any easier for. Oh, one comment I wanted to make when we were talking about the coaches. I think it's interesting with John Mack, obviously now at a public school. He went to Crespi. He went to the collegiate level. He's back in Ventura County coaching high school football. Mm-hmm. You look at Tony Henne, and Tony goes down to Trabuco, wins a championship somehow. He's back right away as well. Mm-hmm. And I think those are 2 great examples of guys who left and just thought it was better here back at home, and we're happy to have both of them back.
Well, I went to Occidental College for a year, when I left here the first time.
That's right, I'd forgotten about that.
Went there, and I really enjoyed it. That's where I went to school, and I enjoyed it, had great staff, and had some really good players. So I was fortunate, but it was too far to drive.
Hey, aren't you in the College Hall of Fame for your playing abilities as a quarterback?
College Football Hall of Fame, I went in 2001 with guys like John Elway and Johnny Rogers, Marcus Allen.
Wow, congrats.
Pretty comparable skill set.
Yeah, nobody can believe it.
So you guys
I didn't believe it when you called me.
No way. I'm not calling you. I didn't call you. Come on.
Okay, I'll rank you number 1. Stop telling stories.
Here's an Oaks Christian player being helped off the field, and that's just something you don't want to see. It's sophomore lineman Dallas Holiday, 6'4", 270-pound sophomore.
Yeah, his brother went to Duke. Remember
Blair Holiday?
Yeah, Blair Holiday. He's the one that got in the boating accident. Remember, and he almost passed away. But
how's he doing?
He's fine. He's actually going to graduate, I think, maybe in December. Okay, and I don't think he'll be playing any football anymore.
Right. But he's graduating from Duke, so whether or not he plays football, he's better off than the rest of us.
And this.
Nice carry from Wick as Wick gets down to the 41-yard line.
This kid's going to be a great player. His brother is only a sophomore. He's 6'4", 6'5", 270. He's only a sophomore. He's going to be outstanding.
It's rare you see that where one brother's a wideout and the other's a lineman.
Yeah.
Gotta wonder what happened there.
What happened there?
Blair Holiday's the one that ran that 2-point conversion in to beat Westlake.
That's right.
On that to avoid going into overtime.
First down and 10 with 4:15 remaining as Wick makes his way to the 31-yard line. Moore Park coming up next week, obviously, and Moore Park always presents challenges with how they play defensively.
Well, I tell you, Tim Linz is a great coach. He was with me at Crespi as my defensive coordinator. He's a great coach, great guy. He's had a lot of success there at Moore Park, had great success at Crespi. He's got big John Kidder with him that played for us for Jim Benkert and I. He's their offensive line coach. And so they got a great coaching staff, and Moore Park will present some problems for Oaks Christian, no question.
Well, that coach staff has been together for a long time, haven't they?
At Moore Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do a good job.
Get the sense Bonnie is just trying to get out of here.
Yeah, where do you think St. Bonaventure goes this week, Lorenzo? Westlake's coming up next. It's another opportunity. It's basically, a do or die at this point. You have to win. You can't go 1-2 and go into the Pac-5 playoffs.
I think.
Well, last year we lost to St. Bonnie on the last minute of the game, and that pretty much eliminates you from the playoffs. Okay, they can still make it, but they're going to have to win their last 2 games, and one of them is going to have to be against Westlake.
You can't go in as a 6-4 team in this division.
No. They'll only take 2 teams out of this first and second team.
Yeah, and I can't see them getting past Westlake. I mean, again, their problems aren't easily fixable. Their offensive line struggles at times, and their defensive line really hasn't gotten any pressure all night. And really, for the most part, for the rest of it, no one has had trouble scoring on St. Bonnie ever. And again, with those kind of problems from your defense and the offensive line, and then just the fact that most teams you play against, you're going to be outmanned, especially when you start to play against Oaks, Westlake, and then in the postseason. It's just they're not ready for that this
and the
year.
Receivers are dropping. We saw a bunch of drop balls, key drop balls that could have given them a chance. One in the end zone.
As Wick goes in for a touchdown for St. Bonaventure, it's 48-22. And you do hate to see a player like Darius Vines, a dynamic player, not have the right targets and potentially not reach the postseason. He's such a talented player. But St. Bonaventure, a little bit in transition in terms of how things stack up on the lines especially.
Without a doubt. And to go back to what we were talking about before, if you want to continue to compete, you're going to have to continue to get guys. And you got to wonder how 3 straight seasons, again, the season's not over. But if they finish the way that it looks like they will, which would be a 3rd straight season with no postseason wins and them not even going to the postseason this year, you got to wonder how that's going to affect kids wanting to go over there to continue to play. That this division is tough, and when you feel like you're undermatched from a manpower standpoint in terms of talent, that presents an even tougher problem. So you got to wonder how that's going to affect the program moving forward.
Yeah, Coach, how did you guys deal with missing the playoffs last year?
That was the first time in the history of the school.
Exactly.
Okay, it was hard. It was very hard, very hard. Lorenzo, what year were you at St. Bonnie?
I graduated in 2002, so 2001 was my last football season.
2001. So you went there like in 98 or something.
Yeah, I got there 99. I got there in the 2nd semester of my freshman year.
Yeah, I can't figure out why you didn't come to Oaks Christian. Okay.
His career was over by the time you guys were starting.
And let's remember, he would have made the decision on his own.
Now, if they don't onside kick and they go deep to 11, he may take it back.
This is true. I mean, hey, he's the lone guy back there.
Now they're afraid of him.
They
got the scouting report.
It was an away call. They wanted to kick that away. Oaks Christian will have the ball and will pretty much run this clock out. Well, Coach, I want to say thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was nice meeting Lorenzo. It's good to see Derry Eads again. My gosh, I think he's older than I am.
I only look that way, Coach.
But I really appreciate being up here, and I really appreciate all you do for the Ventura County and, LA County too, but for high school football. It's just absolutely tremendous what you've done and what you continue to do, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. So best of luck to you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
a true legend, Bill Riddell, joining us on the broadcast tonight. We really appreciate we really appreciate having him.
Thank you, Coach. You too, man.
Nice things about you. Good seeing you, Derek.
Good seeing you.
A big thanks to Bill Riddell. You got to love the commentary. He's
I tell you what,
really
legend.
He just said Oaks Christian is number 1. Okay, I would rank them as number 1.
Yeah, they're number 1.
This week, Riddell, I would vote them number 1.
They are number 1. They're the number 1 team in the county tonight. That's for sure. And on the season thus far. You look and you see him on the field, and I mean, we've seen Camarillo a couple times this year. This is the best team in the area, I think, at this point.
Yeah, without a doubt. Them, and I got to say, it would be interesting, though, to see them play against Camarillo. I don't know if that would be a gimme. I think Camarillo's strengths, from a defensive scheme standpoint, those guys do exactly what they're supposed to do. They've got great talent. Tostado out wide. They've got Kobe Stevens. That quarterback, again, Jake Constantine, is as good as anybody.
But they're missing Isaiah Otis.
They do.
They've got to have him back.
They definitely do. And from what I've been hearing is that the knee injury isn't as serious as it looked, which is a great thing, and it's possible that he could return for the postseason. But they're playing Newberry Park tonight, and they still haven't missed a beat. I know Kobe Stevens went to running back, and it seems that they just pretty much ran away with that victory as well. And it's just when you think Camarillo is going to have a bump in the road, they just find a way to continue to get it done. I mean, this is a team that went from being, young and depleted with injuries to now all of those guys that were young and were forced to play have experience, and the other guys who weren't healthy are back too. So they're playing with a serious chip on their shoulder, and it's hard to beat a team with that kind of attitude. And again, they're playing for each other. They're playing for the right reasons, and it reflects in their play every single week. I think that would be a great game to see Oaks play Camarillo.
Camarillo just has players all over the field.
Without a doubt. And again, they're seasoned. They're old. They have experience. They're smart. They're tough.
I think tonight was a big test. They trailed 17-14 in the third quarter. It's 49-17 right now. Westlake rallied for a late win against Moore Park, 25-21. So they are certainly in control of their own destiny. They'll take on St. Bonaventure next week. Oaks Christian will take on the Moore Park Musketeers. But this one is done. The Oaks Christian Lions, the top-ranked team in Ventura County, at least by our estimation, as they beat the St. Bonaventure Seraphs 48-23. Derry Eads, Lorenzo Booker, your final thoughts on tonight's game?
I got to say, it ended up as bad as I thought it would. Oaks actually could have ran away with this one a lot earlier. They had a lot of self-inflicted wounds, but St. Bonnie didn't present much of a challenge with their inability to finish drives and turnovers. And, Oaks wins, and again, I figured it went this way. I figured it would go this way.
Deuce?
Yeah, I really second that from Lorenzo. That first drive when they went down there and lost a fumble just kind of set a tone for things to come.
Absolutely. St. Bonaventure was given a few opportunities by this Oaks Christian team, and they really did not take them. The Lions now 8-0 on the season and looking like league champions. Lorenzo, it's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Man, I had a blast.
I mean, it was always fun watching you on the field, and I knew you'd be great up in the booth. You got some talent here.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, it'd be nice to make a second career out of it.
How can we keep up with what you're doing these days?
Well, I do post-game analysis with Mike Clan and Celery Dana Santos on Friday Football Focus. So
perfect. That's
fun. But again, I love being able to stay involved. This is the area in which I'm from, and I love to see all the teams continue to do great because, again, the rivalries are great amongst everybody, but at the end of the day, we want to see all the kids in the area go on and do great things. It gives me somebody to look for on Saturdays.
Absolutely.
So we want the success to keep going.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Lorenzo. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. Anytime, man.
Great to have Lorenzo Booker in the booth. For the Deuce, Derry Eads, and great to have Bill Riddell as well. As our entire team, Anthony Placencia and the crew, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight on the VCSPreps Game of the Week. We'll be back in Week 9 as we hit the final stretch in high school football in 2015. For the entire team at the Ventura County Star, good night, everyone.